I must have went blind tonight, cause I swear that you out of sight. Man, I'm so up, I could be a pilot, and I just hope trying to catch a flight. So let me get the digits, I call right now if you with it. I seen 1,000 pretty girls in this room, $1 and I've been looking for you. I've been searching, it's so hard to find a girl who's one of a kind. Just being alone just isn't cool. I'll take 1,000 trips around the world just so I could find you, girl. Cause darling, I've been looking for you. Yeah, I'm looking for you. For you. I'm looking for you. For you. Let's get it now. I'm so up, I could be a pilot. Be a pilot. Be a pilot. I'm so up, I could be a pilot. Beat. Let's get it now.
Back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this.
Back it up, back it up.
Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this.
Back to the back to the back to the back to the back.
Take it back, take it back. Back it up, 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 back it up,
Back it up, back it up, back it up.
take it back, take it back. Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this.
Back it up, back it up.
Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this.
Back to the back to the back to the back to the back.
Welcome to the XXL Nutrition HQ. XXL Nutrition is the most popular online supplement brand in Europe. Our proteins, pre-workouts, dietary supplements, and of course our sportswear is developed with the greatest possible care. We are known for providing the highest quality products and the best service. Daily, we are working with a motivated team on new developments, promotions, and quality control to serve our customers in the best possible way. XXL Nutrition is an established name in the B2B and B2C market. Therefore, we can also be found in many gyms, supplement stores, and supermarkets. Offering the highest possible quality is the foundation of our brand. Only the best ingredients and materials are used for our products. Everyone at our company has passion for health and fitness. That's why we want to provide our customers, and of course ourselves, with the best products. We prepare all orders in our own warehouse, which has the capacity to process more than 10,000 orders daily. Thank you for supporting XXL Nutrition. We are XXL, the most popular brand in sports nutrition.
And here, live at the MGM Music Hall in Boston, Massachusetts, we make some more. Welcome to the Rainbow Six Invitational 2025. Are you ready to make history? Game number 1 begins now! It is Hasa Company Academy! It's a one-team!
We can't quite see it, the punt.
Oh, it did! Beautiful first!
Cyber isn't going to let him just sit on this. Oh, brilliantly played!
It seems like Furia might just have numbers, but they've lost a couple. And Philippe will see. BDS steal that round for Furia. He's working a triple for Dream. It's all up to Nate and Philippe Pox now. Numbers in a disadvantage for them. And Nate is on the floor.
Pressurization complete.
First map looks to be locked up to be there. Putting out the 1v1.
Unbelievable stuff from the Brazilian. It's all up to
He's been here before. He's got to step across. It's all about this 1 versus 1. He wins it out. Rene's going for the plant. Simon's got 3. We're down towards this last 30 seconds.
King is manoeuvring here.
Shot in the back again. Shaiko is going up to him. Finally finds himself down now. Users has got to clutch up big.
Andy, let's see if the swing.
The waiting. Solotov's down. Rene's off. He's also down.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the final day of group stage here in Voltage League Season 5. My name's Travi. I'm joined by the wonderful Am Guns here, and we've got 2 best of ones coming your way today to decide the final standings through of our group stages, of course. Here. How are you feeling about the games tonight?
Oh, I'm feeling excited, man. These are fighting. I think Skopetas are fighting to lock in that second place. Something to keep in mind as well is if you do get that second place locked in, you progress straight into the semi-finals during playoffs. So there are some big games coming up today. We get to see Skopetas and the Turks play. They have been some of the top teams here in Voltage League in this current season. So very excited that we get to watch them compete once again.
Yeah, going to be some really great games then. Of course, first and foremost, let's take a look at the bracket and see where things stand at the minute in our overall standings here to just kind of see where things have been going so far. So next, they're currently locked up in first place under there. They're locked in the top 2. Of course, the big benefit for getting that top 2, as you say, is you get that bye in the playoffs straight into the semi-finals. So it's a massive advantage to be getting in towards that top 2. Hoogtepunt, they're currently sitting there in second. And if they can win their match later today, they're going to be locking that position in. However, if they lose it, that's where things start to get a little bit exciting because the Evolian Turks, they can then overtake based on the result of their match that they've got coming up ahead.
Yeah, NXT have looked so strong throughout this whole tournament. They have claimed that top spot, done a really good job. But where it gets interesting is in that middle pack of the field. Our bottom teams have now been confirmed. Valerie Sports, they had a forfeit today as well. They won't be making it any further in this tournament. But as you said, Travi, that middle pack is where it gets really exciting. There's a lot of upsets that can happen. And I think last time we were casting, or last time I was here on Voltage, we had some crazy upsets. We had, I believe it was Wild Multi Gaming, gave us a massive upset against the Turks, I want to say is what it was. And it just shows that anything is possible in these competitions, right? These teams are going to be playing their heart and soul out to try and progress themselves into those higher spots in the playoffs. So, there's all to play for here in Voltage League.
Yeah, of course, that is going to be so exciting to see, of course, what happens through with it. And obviously, we look towards that second game of the day. That is, of course, where Hoogtepunt, if they do lose that, then the Evolian Turks can jump up over them. But to decide which of them will be overtaken in towards second, we, of course, need to look at the best of one coming up ahead. That will be between Diavoli and the Turks. Whoever wins that one is going to be going straight over in towards second place for the time being, unless Hoogtepunt can hold on to that position. Of course, for that best of one, we've got to have a take a look at the map veto to see exactly which battleground these 2 teams are going to be heading on through. And I'm going to, you know these teams, you know them well. Let's take a look at our maps and see where exactly we're going to be heading for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what these guys have decided on. It's going to be going to cons. We've actually seen both of these teams play on cons before, and teams are really starting to get the hang of how this map plays. Since it's reworked, since it's been changed around a little bit, and it's been given that facelift that we saw. I can't believe it's been like 3 seasons now since we've had the cons work, I think. It's mental how fast time is flying.
A bit longer than that, I think. It feels like a while. I mean, we were only talking about the other day about like Siege being around for 10 years. I remember getting it when I was like a bit too young to be playing it 10 years ago now, almost. Yeah, culturally, I think it's going to be a fun battleground. I feel a little bit cheated that we're not getting a lair. We've not seen a lot of it here in season 5 so far, and to see it get so far into the veto and be taken out at the last minute, I won't lie, I'm a little bit sad. But I think culturally, it's going to be a fun battleground for these teams, of course. And looking at, of course, the map itself, it's, as you say, quite defender-sided, a lot of rat spots on it, and I think it's going to be a fun battleground, and I think it's going to facilitate that kind of thing we've been saying, where anything can happen between these two, right?
Yeah, and Cons is stereotypically a defender-sided map. As I said, teams are starting to figure it out. The caliber of teams we've got here, which is Divoli versus Turks, the first game?
Yeah.
Yes. Both of these teams they've shown their class on these maps before. Turks are notorious for going to winning in consistent fashion on border. So it's good to see that border was banned out earlier in the map pool because Turks absolutely cook on that map. So Divoli have done their homework a little bit there. They've taken Turks to somewhere where they're still extremely solid on, but it's not their goated map, if you like. They've done their homework there, which is really good to see. But it's a chance for both of these teams to showcase how well they can attack. And that's what I'm really keen to see as we move into this game.
Yeah, and those attacking rounds, of course, going to be really, really important on COD. They're difficult to crack. They're infamously so. So, of course, being able to show you're able to get a decent amount of them over the line before that halfway switch point is going to be setting you up for success when you're on your defensive half. And speaking of teams, let's take a look at the rosters for these two sides, see exactly who. Because, as you say, they're all impeccable players. And I think the numbers there in front of your eyes right now all got positive ratings. It solidifies really how great everyone on this Turks LFO roster is. And damn, guys, they can all step up to the plate when they need to. So when one of them's having a bit of a slower day or perhaps a bit of a slower start even, there's always someone there to pick up the mark, get the team back into the competing form that we know them as. And the reason why Turks LFO are competitive is because of that flexibility of that roster there. And I'm looking at that. They're all really great performing. The entry stats across the board are really impressive. And that really sticks out to me as well. I mean, Fiza, he's 11-6 on entry. Bodolf 6-2. Some really great entry stats on that team as well.
The thing I want to highlight, though, is we spoke about this last time we casted the Turks as well. Although their stats are phenomenal, they're not untouchable, right?
No.
They do bleed, right? The gods can bleed, I think is the phrase, something along that lines. We've seen how teams, last time we got to watch, Turks took a loss against one of those mid-table teams in Voltage League. Although they have these phenomenal stats, it's incredibly difficult to perform to this level all the time, right? Like, it takes its toll on you as a team. You've set such high standards for yourself, but obviously we know the Turks can definitely rise to that occasion. They can definitely live up to these stats, but just performing to such a high level all the time can be draining, and especially when these matches get gritty, they go the distance, it can just be really hard to keep that performance up there. But Turks have shown time and time again that they are head and shoulders above being as consistent as you can be. I think it was a bit of a shock when we saw Turks lose that last game, but this is what makes the game so exciting. Although Turks got the favors going into that because of these stat lines, right? Everyone knows how good these players are. It just makes the games that much more exciting.
Yeah. Speaking of stats as well, let's take a look at Dive Early, see what they're bringing to the table. Of course, yet another team that I think have quite a similar story to Turks going into this. Incredibly consistent roster with a lot of great players, some great stat lines there as well. Not all of them quite as perhaps outstanding as the Turks, but they've won some games. They've lost some games here as well. Of course, their loss was to Next. That was a 2-7. So that was quite a big loss for them. But since that point, and really since onwards there, they've been winning games quite well. They have 7-3 against Valor, 7-4 against Wild. They did lose 7-3 to Seco Pattis as well, which is what sort of kept them in that middle table. But we've seen the strength of Seco Pattis. I think they've had a good performance so far, but this is that opportunity, I think, to really cement themselves as that top level team and fight themselves, prove to us that they are one of the teams that deserve to be in the top 2.
And this is one of those things, right? The Turks are one of those staple, T2 teams coming out of the qualifiers. This is Divoli's chance to prove themselves, as you said. I really like what you said there. This is their chance to prove to the world and everybody watching that they belong here and they belong in the playoffs with a higher seed. That is the main goal that they're going to be trying to get out of this, as well as kind of proving to themselves that they can perform to the level that's probably expected of them to get into those playoff spots. So although their stats not as impressive as the Turks, they all have their own merits in their own right as well. But especially, I can't read his name because my eyes are failing me. Holy. Who's the second player?
Second player. Oh no, I've closed it.
Murat,
second
right?
Murat. Yeah, it is Murat. Second player. Yeah, Murat.
Murat's been absolutely cooking with that KD at the moment. He's been doing a phenomenal job with that 1.3. It's be time for me to get some glasses. Holy. Without me banging on too much about the stats of the players, let's take a look at what the staff here at Voltage League think how this game's going to go. So let's see what people have put on how this game's going to go. So let's jump right into those predictions.
Yeah, let's see these predictions. I mean, as you've said, teams have proven the Turks can bleed. The question is, do we think they're going to bleed today? And the answer seems to be well resounded from everyone here. No. But I'm going to put a bit of a spanner in the works here, and I'm going to speak on behalf of everyone here. Feel free to call me out if I'm wrong. I know the prediction is 4-4 for Turks, but I think this is an insanely close prediction. When I was sitting and thinking about this one earlier, I don't think that 4-4 gives the respect to Diavoli that I think they deserve with this one. I think they're going to put up a close game regardless of the outcome. Sure, I do think Turks will take it, but I do think Diavoli definitely have a fighting chance here, and they're certainly going to be testing Turks all the way through. And if they do begin to slack a little bit, Diavoli could definitely take it, and there's definitely a world in where they can actually take the game off of the back of that.
I'm hoping they prove us wrong. Okay, obviously, everybody here on production has put the Turks to win, but I love a good underdog story, right? Although myself included, I put the Turks to win. I think their experience, just the logical pick is to put the Turks if you're looking to predict this game off of the information available to you. But I'm hoping to be proven wrong. I'm really hoping Divoli can come out swinging. And Collins is a map where, especially on the defensive half, in my opinion, you really still can dictate the pace of rounds. You can still dictate the way the game is going to play out. So also, we didn't get a chance to look at the sides. But if Divoli start off on the attack and then go into probably going to be the more comfortable side for them on the defense, even if they go 4-2 down, 5-1 down, there's a lot of what's the word? Opportunity for them to make their comeback. There we go.
More formal way.
Opportunity for them to get back into the game.
Yeah, and I think that's really it for Divoli. It's going to be how this attacking half goes, and more importantly, I think for them as well, with a bit of a mental battle, right? You need to be able to look at that scoreline at the end of that attacking half, because the odds are you're going to come out of that first half, and as you said, it's not going to be positive. Whether it's a 4-2, a 5-1, whichever it is for Divoli, it's not going to be in their favour at the end of that first half. If it is, massive success for them, but the odds are on Consulate you're not going to come out of that attacking half looking favourable. You need to be able to take that pause at the middle way through the game and take that reset to yourself. Take that pause and think to yourself, right, we're new half. We're now on the favoured side of things, and we can actually now start to take a bit of a lead here, start to build up some rounds and sort of make that comeback come on through, really. The Turks, they've got the opposite story. They start on that favoured defensive side. They can build up some good rounds going early into it. And if they can just keep that momentum and carry it all the way through into the second half, they should be pretty set for this one on paper, at least.
And the other thing is with Consulate is I think now, as we spoke about earlier, the rework's been out for so long. It's given time for teams to figure out how this works. I think both teams coming into this will know the game plans for the different sites. They'll have different game plans in mind. I'm really hoping we get to see these game plans executed well. I want to see
Yeah.
purpose in the attacks. I want to see good intentions. Pun on the team, good intentions that made it all the way through the email calls. Pun intended there.
Yeah.
But I want to see well-designed attacks coming together to give team success. Unfortunately, especially at T4 level, even coming to T3, a lot of times the attack can be a little bit discoordinated because people or teams just haven't quite thought through as well as they need to how to solve common problems. An example of which is the checkers hallway. Travi, is there any operators that come to mind that you think are perfect for dealing with that situation?
Perfect dealing with that situation. You know, when you've got a player playing behind the vending, you get the Grim, and obviously since he's able to bounce the Cowan Hives off the walls, get the player out of the position there. Anything shields, obviously, always play a big part in the meta at the minute. Get a shield in there, get someone sticking through, and you know, there's plenty of ways to deal with that. And I think it's one of those funnel points of the map, and it's arguably to me, I think checkers is one of the more interesting areas in the game at the minute, because especially on that top floor, it's such a crucial position to clear out. You need to get that position cleared. There's no two ways about it, and it's really about how you can deal with that. And to be fair, there's a lot of different ways to go in about it. But as a defender, you have so many options, not only to play it well and last in that position, but you have so many ways to get out with your life. And I think that's the biggest thing for these attacking teams. When the players retreat out of that checkers position, when they run away, if they are doing that, you need to make sure you're catching them, because otherwise you've spent all of that utility to clear that position. And you've got a great power position, sure, but by that point, we see a lot of teams perhaps overcommit on the utility, I feel, and that's a big issue for them. They'll overcommit to checkers, and then they start to look towards the objective itself and then go, we've wasted all of our utility clearing out this other position on the map. How do we actually then brute force the main focal point of the round, which of course is that objective itself?
Yeah, and I think that's the good thing about Siege, right? I think Siege is in a beautiful place right now where the balance between attack and defense, in my opinion, is in a really good spot.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many tools available to the attack, and especially with the attacker repick as well, you can pretty much completely revamp your loadout based off what you see. It provides a really nice mini game of sacrificing drones to get intel on the defense to make yourselves have the right loadout when it comes to your attacking half, especially on a map like Consulate where the defense is a lot of different strategies at play. Something I want to highlight from Reload was the use of Capital. So generally speaking, especially on the piano site, the vertical gameplay is so strong, you can deny the plant anywhere on that middle floor from above. You can use Capital or Ying to dislodge the players playing in just that specific spot to allow you to sort of navigate your way around a lot of the defense. So if we can see some kind of ingenious moments like that from this game, because that will make this game just before playoff worthy, I think. That's something I really want to look at.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, certainly an opportunity to really solidify the quality of these teams here. And as you say, we want to see some good Siege today. I think that's the really important thing between these two. You want to see those good attacks, and as you said, you want to see them with those good intentions. I'm going to steal your pun right there, but you want to see those attacks with the good intentions. You want to see what they're doing has meaning behind it, has an idea behind it. We're not just doing something for the sake of doing something. I think that's the key difference here. And whichever team really does solidify that through and really solidifies that team play element all the way into the game, I think that's going to set them up for success in this one. And of course, do keep in mind, this game doesn't necessarily take you to second place in group stage, right? You still have to rely on Seekapats losing later on today, which of course, that's quite a big rely on. It takes it out of your hands. And we perhaps saw it quite a few times, speaking of Reload, where a team, they have a result, particularly with the bullet system as well, where they have a result and then it's out of their hands afterwards. They have to rely on other teams' results to sort of carry them on through. And that's going to be a really difficult position for these teams, but they need to look away from that right now. They need to look at the game in front of them right now and go, right, we need to win this in regulation and get as many points from this game as possible. And then whatever happens later on tonight happens, right? Whatever goes on, goes on.
Sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah.
The other thing that is very important is at least you put pressure on Seekapats, right?
That's it.
If you don't win this game, it almost puts the Seekapats at ease. There's not as much pressure on them to win that game. And if you want to fight for that second spot, you want to put Seekapats in the most difficult position possible. So this is almost like this game becomes a must win because you're looking to make Seekapats feel the heat, feel the pressure going into their game. And that should hopefully inspire some of these players to rise to the occasion and play some really good Siege today.
Yeah, and that's a big thing as well. And obviously, something else Seekapats will be looking at going into this one as well is perhaps if this game goes towards overtime, suddenly the points that these two teams in front of us can get from this game gets reduced significantly. And I'm just trying to work out the mental maths in my head quickly here, but that does put Hoogtepunt in a much better position, because all of a sudden, 1 point from taking their game in towards an overtime, that's going to be enough for them. They don't need to win it outright anymore if they can just get that one extra point into there if this game goes all the way to overtime. So really for these two teams here, Turks, LFO and Devo, it needs to be done in regulation, because the minute you do take this to overtime, your chances at getting through in the top 2 seed aren't 0, but they are significantly reduced. 6 rounds from Hoogtepunt, that is all they're going to need to guarantee themselves that second place spot. And that, of course, is very, very, it's a worrisome spot to be in. But for these two teams, I think they can sit comfortably, right? They've guaranteed themselves playoffs. They've guaranteed themselves here. All they're fishing for at this point, I feel, really is for a bit extra, right? They're just guaranteeing themselves that top 2 position or the best chance at it possible. So, of course, I have to wait and see how it goes. And, suppose dive back into Consulate a little bit, and perhaps the bans you're saying. We're obviously still on the old ban system here.
Yes.
I'm sure you've both probably been watching Reload a lot over the last week as well, and been going, oh, this can happen, this can happen, this can happen. All these teams, maximizing the new ban system. And then we're now back on this old system where it's a lot less reactive. And as you say, picks like that Ying, that Capital, where if a team really relies on those, you can't react to that with the current ban system. The bans you make at the start of the game, they persist all the way through. You can't change up what you're doing. And if one of these teams can have a pocket strategy hidden behind them, they can pull it out and the other team aren't aware of it in the ban phase. They can just abuse it the entire game, because you can't change your bans once the game starts.
And that's sort of the meta at the moment, right? We see Blackbeard banned 90% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's fair to say it's unreal how much this operator gets banned out. My personal opinion is I don't think he's worth the ban. I think the Monty or the Blitz can offer a lot more value, especially the Monty. I think the Monty can be really scary in a coordinated stack. I know Valerie Sports, although they haven't made it into the playoffs, they were very keen to use as many shields as they could, because I just think the information available to you with such little risk can just do so much for you. But I think we are good to get into this game. So let's head right into it, Travi, as first game of the day is now underway.
First game of the day is indeed now underway. We've proven before that the Turks can bleed here in Voltage League. The question is, can Diavoli do the same and set themselves up for a possibility of getting themselves their semi-finals ticket booked? Well, we spoke about shields, we spoke about bans. Fontaine, going to be the first one taken off the board here. We've spoken extensively, right, about how these shields can really impact these games, how they can take ground, how they can really be used to provide intel. And I feel we're in a meta at a minute, especially with the attacking bans. It's pick your poison, right? Do you ban a Blackbeard? Do you ban a Monty? You're going to have to deal with one or the other. It's pick your poison. In this case, Diavoli, they don't want either of the poisons. 2 of our more prominent shield operators taken off the board, and in my opinion, leaving the weakest of the 3, left the Blitz in play.
The other thing that's good to note is that all the roam clit operators are still in play. We've still got Dokubi, Jackal, and Dokubi, Jackal,
Lion, Deimos.
Lion, Deimos. There we go. My brain is just not firing all cylinders today. It's shocking. But all of those operators. So if we do see extensions coming out from the defensive side, there's a lot of tools available to both of these teams to be able to deal with it. The Tabaro ban, I think, is crucial nowadays. I think Cade or Tabaro, on a lot of maps where getting things open is extremely important, has to be a must ban. This now means that Thatcher can do the job. There's nothing to sort of counter that interaction between the Wardenal and the Thatcher. Bandit tricking, however, is still a possibility for things like the Suicide Breach or the main breach in basement. Those are still possibilities, but I think there's very reasonable bans coming in from both of these teams at Travi.
Yeah, indeed, both very reasonable bans. An operator that's being brought along, not banned, is going to be the Clash. An operator, of course, rework was announced yesterday. We'll maybe talk on that one in itself a little bit later on, but of course, she's still in her pre-rework state. Still got that shield, still a lot of waste of time, and you know what? The shield's been banned. They're always talked about. It seems like Maritas is going to be bringing the shield over on the side of Diavoli. That's no surprise. See, so have a little bit of shield versus shield action here in round number 1. Of course, no surprise, Turks LFO starting things up on the top floor. That lineup that is very sort of prepared for an execute, right? You've got Shoxon and Fiza on the Boyo in the smoke. A lot of time wasting. And then as well, you've got the Warden for any Yings, flashbangs, smokes that get thrown in by that late round execute. Backed up by the Mew and the Clash. I think it's a good all-rounded lineup here for the side of Turks.
I really like the extension over towards the admin side. The good thing is with the Mew as well, you can deny the info in and around this admin area. This admin area can be a little bit notorious for just getting entry into the map. This break room extension is going to be the thing that Divoli are going to have to figure out a way to clear if it's going to be an admin side over. But with the loadout they've got, I think they actually are going to be up for an admin side over. So I'm very curious to see how they get value out of the blitz here. Maybe send them up the visa stairs. It just lets you claim that space, but seems like Bodov's ready for it here with the clash, Travi.
Yeah, that's it. Turks LFO already sort of in the positions here to challenge Diavoli as they go in. I mean, the key is here, right, it's a lot of time wasted. How much time can you burn in this admin position here? Cut-offs for Bodov already being put in place there by the side of Turks. And, well, Visa going to be taking out RWL. And that's the Nomad gone down to start things off. This push across from Diavoli not working out so well. Blitz is in and they've got the control of admin. Goyo goes for an aggressive swing, gets punished for it. Visa is down. It's 4 versus 4, even back out. But my eyes is... How does Bodov get out of this one alive here? Because Diavoli, they're starting to take the control now. They make quick work of this admin side of the map and now start to focus on checkers.
Bro, although Peter's gone down, that kill onto the cut-off play on the coffin window is huge. That's what's allowed Bodov to now retreat out of this position and keep himself alive. So he can be able to keep providing so much value, so much information to the Turks when Divoli's set up here in admin. And this is that checkers hallway. Looking at the loadout we've got one nade. That's the only bit of utility we've got to dislodge this clash from playing this position. But somehow choose, he's going to find one amongst all the chaos. So it looks like pop off it.
Oh no, Shoxall gets caught with Tox Babe in hand, takes a little bit of damage, but look at this, Marat's in sight on the blitz here. Low HP still alive, but knows where this smoke is. Eventually going to be taken down by Kefi instead, and Turks, they're getting torn apart here. 2 versus 4 now. Salim's the only one up with a gun, but luckily he can make the shots. It takes down Marat. Bodov, SMG in hand here, but Diffuser is down. The Turks need to get moving, and they need to get moving now. Bodov, levels things out, makes it 2 versus 2, but Kefi trades it right old back, and it's Salim left in a 1 versus 1 now as Kefi goes down. Arad now on the sense outside of the objective, has to cover this defuse. 20 seconds left to go here for the defense. C4 is going to be thrown, it's not in the right direction, and that says Salim has 0 idea where this remaining attacker is. All Diavoli needs to do is just play out the clock here, burn the time, and they should be good for this one through, because look at this, Salim has no choice now but to really try and stick this through. Should be an easy wall bang here, can't find it, and with the clock doing the justice, Diavoli will take the round despite the kill from Salim, and the nice little attempt at a clutch there. Unfortunately, the clock is your biggest enemy, and Diavoli off to a quite good start here.
Divoli did a great job of pushing back the clash. As I spoke about, they've only had 1 nade in pocket, but they've worked around it. They've used the Grimbies and the pinch in from spiral stairs to make that Bodov on the shield feel uncomfortable. He couldn't hang around that long desk position because of the pressure coming from spiral. The clash shield only covers the front half of you up to about a 45-degree angle. As soon as someone's off to your left, you really start feeling the heat. So that's what's allowed the clash to have to retreat, or force the clash to retreat. And it's a really good execute coming in from Divoli. I'm really impressed using the aggression on the blitz as well to just get these players out. And they found the picks. I think Turks LFO, they looked a little bit twitchy as well, as you saw Gutter falling early. So I think some early nerves coming in here from the Turks as well, as there's just a couple of situations where they just overpeaked just a little bit and opened the door from Divoli. But Divoli have swung that door wide open, made their way into sight, which is great to see.
Yeah, and that's the kind of statement you want to be starting off a game with there, because you're now 1-0 up on what is considered one of the better sites here on Consulate. You've beaten that one, and Turks, they didn't even want to reattempt it. They're just going to continue the rotation through, head back down towards the basement. And this time around, well, they're going to be playing a little bit more of a reserved, I suppose, lineup here, not going for anything massively crazy here. Bodov will be up all the way on the top floor, going for a deep roam, as well as Shoxall on the Maestro. I'm always excited to see this one when it does come into play. So much denial you can have on getting the diffuser down there, and Turks LFO obviously spotting that's what Diavoli want to go for, so adapt him properly to do so. And this is what I love the Mozzie in the use of that here. Combining that mute with the Mozzie makes getting intel on these top floor players so difficult, and it's going to mean that they're going to be a problem for the side of Diavoli going late into this round.
Mav's going to go and Swiss cheese the wall in the main breach, open up some lines of sight. Very reminiscent of Labs, as Habana might have just got caught out there by the Cade core being deployed pretty late, as there's some kind of electricity, but RWL's just going to execute his teammate on the way in, and that's the shield. And Salim finds one on top of it as well, Travi.
Oh, that is disastrous there. The visa entry just not working at all for Diavoli. They're reduced down by 2, and look at the operators they've lost as well. The Blitz, the spearhead of their attack, taken off the board, and the striker, all the utility that they provide, that's not going to be used anymore. And the worst part of it is Turks, they've still got 2 players on the top floor here. They've got players all over the place right now. Hello, in the objective, Turks have no idea. This could single-handedly change the round around here, because now the Turks, they're looking a bit scared. They don't know where to be looking, but Salim certainly does. Takes down Shoes, makes it into a 2 versus 4. Aaron, still an objective, still a question mark, and is able to take down Gutter as well. Makes it a 3 versus 2. But look at this, kit's cold. They have to go and recover it in the Turks. They are watching it. They know exactly where it is. MP onto the bubble, takes it down here. Question is, how do Turks now get this diffuser? Keep it locked under from Diavoli's hands.
And somehow they've just made their way in, and Doki's going to hunt for a second.
He's going for it. She's going to be not able to find it. Salim shuts it down. Triple kill on the round. 6-0 so far. And it leaves it all down to Kefi. And Salim makes it 7-0 to reverse James Bond. And just like that, Turks LFO explode with a round. I liked the idea from Diavoli. Traditional take really wasn't working. The sort of top-down clear, whatever they were attempting beforehand, wasn't going to go through. So you just needed someone to go crazy. And that was exactly what Aura did there. Got into the objective, just snuck all the way in there and started clicking on heads. Did do a good number on the Turks defense, but it just wasn't enough there because so that much of that team on the attack was lost early on in that round. It just wasn't enough to convert it through. I do like the idea, but it's going to give Turks that confidence they need now to go and give this top floor yet another go. And hopefully for their sake, it's going to work around this time.
I think it's just a bit unfortunate, right? You send the blitz in, and RWR's just got a bit trigger happy. So, bit unfortunate for him as his teammate executes himself on site. But it was a good effort, right? It's a valiant effort from the Mav and the Doki, somehow sneaking their way into site. But Salim's the hero of that round, as you pointed out. As soon as he got that kit cold, I really like the effort from Diavoli, trying to get the cam or trying to get the diffuser into sight before the defense could realize they've snuck their way in. But Salim was just all too wise to it. He was well aware of what was going down on that side of the map. He shut it down, was the anchor that the Turks needed. So the basically going complete opposite to the first round, going from clinical to not so clinical in the second.
Cool.
But again, the first few rounds, I think, are just to feel each other out, get used to how each other are playing. But obviously, this being the first time they play against each other?
Believe so.
Everyone played each other once. So yeah, it'll be the first time they play each other. So yeah, these first few rounds, just trying to get a feel for each other's play styles, trying to suss out where the weak points are, where the best opportunities are to attack and get yourself into the map. They've only had a great first round and not so great second round. So I think it's just those early nerves kicking in this part of the game.
Yeah, it's that, as you say, it's that settlement period of like, how do they play? How is it going to interact with how we play? Something that I want to point out here from Diavoli that's really impressed me so far is they always seem to have a way to at least attempt to bounce back into things, right? On that first round, we saw the opening pick of the game. One of the players from Turks took down that Nomad on the rappel on the cover. And that really gave Bodolf the freedom to retreat. And I think at that point, for a lot of teams, that would have been the round done for the attack, right? You lose that player on the cover and you're able... And the admin players, they burn time and then they get away scot-free. That's a massive, massive issue there. But Diavoli, they find a way back into it through some quick thinking and some really quick control. And that pinch up towards top spiral, that gave them the opening back in towards the round. And we saw a similar thing attempted in the second round as well, right? They do lose those 2 players early on, but then Aura gets in towards the objective, gets themselves inside of the site and starts shooting people. It puts panic amongst the Turks. It's not quite enough there. Obviously, Salim going absolutely huge to keep the boat afloat there for the side of Turks. But Diavoli, they do have these plan Bs in there and they have that individual play so far to the point where they can still bring these rounds back, even if on a strategical level, I think Turks probably had the upper hand so far.
And the other thing I want to mention is why Turks have opted to go to basement rather than repeat the top floor. I think especially if you haven't played at least 3 of the 4 sites yet, it's a really good idea to try and showcase a site the defense haven't shown before. We have got everybody back into the lobby, which is really good. So we should be able to get this game underway as well, which is really nice. So not too long of a wait there either. But again, showing a site that you haven't shown yet, it means that Diavoli can't adapt in back-to-back rounds. Obviously, Diavoli had a great attack in that first round, but I'm sure their IGL or some of their more vocal players were having a couple of things that they could improve on next time around. By switching the site into basement, it doesn't let Diavoli implement those changes or understand how they could improve straight away. They obviously have to wait for that full rotation to come in before they can implement those improvements. And it also gives Turks LFO a chance to think about what adaptations they need to make for that hold, as they will opt to go back to the top floor now. So I think during that little tech pause, Turks might have cooked up a little bit of an adaptation for us, as there's no clash anymore, Travis.
No, Clash is gone. Going to be getting a Mirror, a Bandit, and a Valkyrie instead here from the side of Turks. Going for something quite different to what we've seen before. I think the general idea is the same, of course. Hold on towards admin, just retreat back as and when you can. It's just the approach and the micro, how exactly they're going to be doing it is slightly different. Clash, of course, she is quite slow. She's a shield operator. That mirror window, sure, you're limited on the visibility of that because you can't move the mirror window around. But what that lacks in the movability of it, it makes up for in the fact that you can get away from the mirror window quite quickly if the position gets a little bit too hot. So I do like the adaptation here from Turks. They're going to be playing a bit more flexibly, I feel. Going to be trying to retake things a little bit more, and it's curious to see how Divoli go about this one, because from there it looks like mostly more of the same. I've seen the line brought along this time, but we'll have to wait and see how it plays out, as all eyes on admin yet again for the early round.
And I love this adaptation. Like, I think they've identified there's like no Ashe, no Kali, nothing to deal with the setup, as it's going to pay off already, as Thieves is going to kick us off with one. And this is what they needed. It's just a much more aggressive hold. The Sense gadget coming out to try and get themselves entry into admin, but this mirror is working out a treat so far, Travi.
Yeah, and they're not paying any attention to Bodolf right now, who's thrown a C4. It's not going to hit its mark, but it doesn't matter because Fiza certainly is hitting the shots. And just as I say, gets taken down by Kefi, but then that immediately signals the retreat there from Turks LFO. And there's the player on the rappel, on the coverage. They're not there. They're not able to hit the shots at that point, and it gives Turks LFO a fairly free way back in towards the objective. And another, I suppose it's never a benefit to have a dead player, right? Of course,
Attackers
being
recover
down
the bomb
a bit.
diffuser.
But look at immediately where he's gone. He's on the Valkyrie cameras. He's on those black eyes, providing intel through to the rest of the team. So perhaps that death is not going to have as much impact as it would without that camera operator. And it puts Divoli in a real tough spot, right? Because look at who they've lost. Sure, most of the operators they bring are execute-heavy operators, but with the Sense and the Blitz down, that's going to make pushing onto this site quite difficult.
And I love the strat. They've got Smoke and Goyo back to back with a mirror window looking over towards vending machine. That hallway normally is crucial to take, which gives you those lines of sight, but it seems like they've got a little pinch here going with the line scanner traffic.
Yeah, that's it. Shoxall though takes down RWL. Choose walks straight into Salim, and now it's all down to Kefi. Low HP, locked out of the objective, and Gutter just runs outside into Checkers to close it out. And for Turks, similarly dominant looking performance here on this top floor. Nothing at all really that the side of Divoli can get going on that one, and that one looked arguably probably worse than the first round, right? Turks looked dominant up there. They've finally taken that one, and now they can head back down towards the bottom.
And this is where that strat came in clutch. It allows the Smoke just to focus solely on the door to the objective. Your back is then covered by a player holding the mirror. Generally speaking, it's the responsibility of the deeper angle, deeper players to watch those angles down the long hallway. But when you have a mirror there, it just gives your teammate complete confidence that you've got his back completely covered, completely negated. But unfortunately for Divoli, they just didn't have any counters to the mirror. They attempted using the Sense gadget to try and cover up the mirror and isolate those lines of sight, but it just didn't really work out. So I'd like to see Divoli just invest a little bit more utility into trying to see what Turks are bringing, so they can better adapt their load out to what Turks are presenting to them.
Yeah, and that's it. And obviously we're starting to see, we talked about it a little bit before the game, right? 6 pick, use it for these teams. It's so essential nowadays in the modern meta to be able to capitalise on that feature. We are seeing Kefi going to be able to use it here, switching off of the Ashe on towards Sedge. That's slightly more of an adaptation towards a specific objective. Obviously, Piano is quite vertical heavy. You do need that top floor control. And if it's something you can get control of with due time, something you can use to apply a lot of the pressure facing downwards towards the objective. Of course, you're going to have to clear that out first. And Turks LFO putting quite a bit of utility and man count up here. Of course, all towards the admin side, littered with these FNAT mines. It's going to make cracking this top floor quite difficult for the attack.
And the additional layer of difficulty the Turks have introduced is the verticality from below. Although Divoli have got a little bit of information near side here, they've got live information onto Shoxall. Maybe they're looking to catch him off guard here, Travi.
They just want to send them in. They're eyeing up just a quick hop in here. They're going to hop in indeed. Shoxall takes down one and makes it a second as well. The quick hop in, and they're sent right back outside. And you can see Marat on the Blitz there. Sat outside.
Blitz is still outside?
Exactly. How do you recover that one? Why isn't the Blitz the first one in? He's the one with the big metal thing in front of his face. He should be the one in first, giving the intel. And now it's put Diavoli in yet another really difficult position. 3 versus 5 here, and they're making a split approach, and they're going to divert towards the top floor here. But we said it earlier, Turks have so much up here. Diavoli going to have a really tough time cracking it, and it's just going to go from bad to worse. Visa takes down Kefi, and it's 2 versus 5.
I don't know why Moratis is still outside of the building. He's got to be the point of attack here. As the strat coming in from Divoli was brilliant. I like the fact they've isolated a single roamer, but you've got to use the tools available to you to attack him in the right way. Unfortunately, sending the Doka and your ace as the first point of contact probably isn't the best idea. So that they've been punished for that, as our one tap hitting the pole is not ideal. Blitz trying to make it work. But it's going to be flawless, Travi, for the Turks here in our 3rd round.
Yeah, and that's 3 rounds in a row now for Turks LFO as well. Of course, that first round, Diavoli were able to steal away there by getting the diffuser down. But since then, it's just been the Turks looking increasingly dominant as each round goes on by. Now, they can head back down towards the basement. Got a feeling this time around, Turks aren't going to be letting any unwanted intruders slip their way in towards the objective itself. Likely going to be having the castle. And I like the adaptation here from Turks. I'm spotting immediately Skopos there. That, I think, is a bit of a response there to that player getting in towards the objective, because if you suddenly have a disaster on site, that Skopos can be back there and supporting the team in the space of about 2 seconds. And that means that Turks can commit to something a bit further away on the map without having to worry about leaving site vacant.
Yeah, it's a really cool pick. I love Skopos as an operator. He just gives you so much flexibility in being a roamer and a site anchor, as you explained. And the other advantage he brings is just the information that your dead teammates can use. If your teammates do get rushed and you lose a site anchor, they can hop onto that Skopos shell and feed you live information if you don't choose to teleport back yourself. If that Skopos shield is left unattended, the amount of information that the dead teammates can provide to you to help you retake the site is another major advantage of the operator, which I love to see. So I think just Turks make a little adaptation on their own roam game to see that, you know, we can make our way to the top floor. We've got a castle as well at Travi this time to support this extension as well.
That's it. It's going to make Turks, give them a lot of breathing room here, I feel. They're going to be quite comfortable on this. And as well, you know, combine that with the mute, making any tracking operators hard. And something we spoke about a little bit about the bans as well. All these tracking operators are available, all these roam clearing. They're not massively being played into here by Diavoli. You know, they've bought the Dokubi a handful of times. We've not seen a Deimos, we've not really seen a Jackal coming out yet. Instead, they've been relying on these shields, and, well, first and foremost, Bodos going to take a little bit of damage here. Of course, the sole player on the top floor for Turks. The goal here, I think, really is just going to be wasting time. But hello, Marantz is already in. He'll be stalled out by the Vulcan canister for just a minute.
And this is a great use of the Goya canisters, right? 25 seconds a pop. You can waste so much time out on the other side of the objective. You can get the attack, the commit utility, and waste this utility nowhere near the site itself, as they just bunker up here in server.
Yeah, that's it. They know where the push is coming from Diavoli, and Turks, they're going to capitalise on constricting them in. Turks get the first pick. Gutter takes down RWL there. That's the striker brought out. And yet again, these Vulcan canisters being used to burn a little bit of time. But Kefi here towards yellow on a bit of a backstab. The question is, do Turks have the idea that there's a player walking in? Because if they don't, it could be some freebies here. Yes, they're going to be spotted out by the Evil Eyes there, but it doesn't matter because the kills continue to fly on through. But it's Turks coming out on top. Diavoli reduced to just 2. Kefi in the objective, hunting for people, but can't find any. Instead gets found himself, and it leaves Oren yet again in a tough position in the corner of the objective. Visa swaps on into the active shell. Look at that for a bit of Skopos play. Teleports right back in when needed. And as we said, finds that impact directly and puts that remaining player, Diavoli, in a winnable spot.
And Turks starting to really start to run away with this, as they've firmly got a grasp on the momentum. And I'm really hoping this doesn't affect the mental of Diavoli. We spoke about it before. Can you reset at that halfway point? I think Diavoli are going to be looking to cut their losses, look to take a 4-2 split here as they return back to the top floor. And what I want to see from Diavoli is they need to change it up. They've been going admin over on every single attack, and they're making it easy for the Turks. Turks are being able to read into this round after round that it's an admin side over. Diavoli need to throw a little bit of a curveball into their attack. You need to maybe send a couple of players into a couple of different positions to backstab. Try and cast a wider net around the defense to make the Turks be worried about more avenues into the site, because right now they're very one-directional and the Turks are dealing with it very, very well.
Yeah, and that's it. We spoke a little bit about it as well. Like, Consular is a map we've had a year to play it now. All these teams are familiar with it. They've got a deep strategy pool to it. Send a buck in below to play the vertical. If you want to go for something crazy, go for that, that famed Amaru window plant. That, it's crazy, but sometimes it can work. There's so many options here for Diaboli, but they're falling into the same trap time and time again. Sam guns, and Turks, they're more than happy to read into that. They're doing the exact same thing they did before here with the mirror extension out towards admin. Same operator lineup as they bought the previous time, I believe. And they're just looking to repeat what's worked before, because Jane Growth might change it, and Diaboli, they're not changing the operator lineup at least. It looks like the same. The question is, can it work this time around?
No Ash or Cali to me is crazy. We've seen this mirror setup come in before the previous round, and we saw how much of a roadblock it was to deal with. The Turks aren't bringing like a Jaeger or a Y to protect this utility. It's just the bandit charge on the breach, which stops the ace charges or the hard breach from denying it. So they're going to try this Sense Tech a different way once again, but I just don't think this is the most optimal way to deal with this setup.
No, but look at that. Vita gets aggressive, swings out, can't quite find anything, looking the wrong way, and it does forego admin control. And now the Blitz is knocking on the door of this mirror window. The player, of course, Gutter does try to retake on towards it now in a bit of a hot position, and they're just pushing in right now. Diaboli, they've got the control of admin, but how do they extend it beyond this? Not very well, apparently. Maritz goes down there. A bit of a tag team between the Valkyrie and the Bandit. It leaves Diaboli. 4 versus 3 here. Turks right now, they're just locking down this admin. They've got the attackers boxed in, and they're more than happy to play around it here. Look at the controller swinging from the Lion, but it's read on to. They know what's coming because they've seen it before. They have played these exact games before, and it's going to take Turks to a dominant 5-1 half, just knocking out Diaboli there. And this one is now looking very, very worrisome for the Russian side as they go onto their defenses.
And it's one of those things where, like, if you do want to full send it into admin, I don't think it's a bad idea inherently, but there's a ways and means you need to do it, and that's the lesson to be learned here for Diaboli. If you are going to be taking this setup head on, you need to bring the right tools for the job. That's going to be the key thing for this whole map, is using the right tools for the right job. Siege is a game where there's so many different things available to you. You can just make your life easier. Yes, the Sense Blitz combination does get you into admin, but does it deal with the utility? Does it dislodge those defenders? Not really. This is where, if you compare these operators to sending a Buck or a Deimos below, or just using an Ash to clear the mirror, it just saves you a lot of hassle in dealing with the setup that the defense have brought. And I feel like Diaboli, on pretty much every round of their attack, unfortunately, they just didn't have the right means to force Turks to be uncomfortable. They did a great job in that first round of capitalizing on mistakes that Turks made, but I think because Turks have been pretty much phenomenal in the 5 rounds that followed, they've only just haven't been able to get anything going off their own back, which is hopefully now on the defense, they can provide that same challenge to the Turks.
And I think this round's going to be a crucially important one for the rest of this game, because Turks win this. They're on a map point, and it's the scoreline 6-1. 5-2. It's not great either for Diaboli, but it proves they can do it, proves they can really sort of compete in this one here. And it's just really a question of how Turks are going to be attacking this. I think a little bit more of a traditional lineup coming in through here. We're seeing the Salim on the Flores to deal with that utility, because Turks know from their own defenses how valuable these power positions, how valuable the utility can be on this top floor. So getting those Roteros in early on to clear out things like the barbed wire, to clear out these Vulcan canisters. That is a great throw from Maritz, and it finds Gutter, and that's exactly what the kind of start that I think Diaboli are going to be needing for this one. It's now put Turks in difficult positions. Look at how many flashbangs they're bringing. I mean, they won't feel the loss of 2, I don't think, but it's still going to sting a little bit.
And this is where I really like the use of the can openers that have been brought by the Turks, is that Alri's going to find a second for himself. Really good stuff for him to give himself the man advantage for his team. But that's what those can openers, they give you that flexibility on being able to open up different parts of the map simultaneously. Obviously, in this case, Suicide Breach being the main thing that needs to be opened. But also using so much utility early, I think it's really going to put Turks on the back foot here.
Yeah, and that's it. All of this early utility, it's great using it to force these players to dive only out. But A, they've not been able to find anything from it yet. And B, even if Turks are able to get something going and level us out at a 3 versus 3, look at what they've got left back in the pocket. It's not a whole lot to deal with to push onto this objective. But Selim wanted to make it work anyway. Takes down RWL. Vodov just pushing in towards the objective. It does get spotted, does get taken down by Maritz. And that should finally be the nail in the coffin, I feel, here for Turks. They've now got to push across checkers, but Kevy's contesting it here. And it's all on to Salim. 11-0 at the minute. I didn't even notice that till about a second ago. But can he make it 14-0? Throws the flashbang, can't quite find the player just of yet. Anticipates the tag team, but not going to follow through just yet. It could be a 1 versus 3 for the Sentries here. If Salim can pull this off, gets another, but can't quite find shoes. Almost, I feel, that one was scary. But the Evoli, they hold on. They finally put down the star player of Turks LFO. I believe 13-0 now, or 13-1 now, rather, after that. And the Evoli, they start off their defense, but I would worry about how many kills Salim was able to get from that.
I really want to highlight that Divoli have done really well to isolate the ones. Turks LFO were going for an admin side over, but there was a couple of stragglers over towards the CO side. Divoli have done a great job of realizing that majority of the push is coming from the admin side, and that they can take these fights onto the kind of straggling players of Turks LFO. That C4 out of CO window, it was absolute on the money, absolute on a dime onto the head of the Doki. So lovely work from Alrid. He's been the standout performer so far for Divoli, and we spoke about it earlier, Travi. When RWL, for example, is not having the best day in the office, there's other members of the squad to pick up the slack. Alrid's been doing a phenomenal job of making up in the kills department for RWL, but I'm sure RWL is contributing as much as he can in other ways, whether that's being on cams, providing more utility for the team. So it's great to see that Divoli, they're not out of this yet. They had a really strong start to their defense in that round.
Yeah, they did indeed. And as you say, not totally out of the woods just yet. I think you get another one here. You make it a 5-3, and suddenly it's a bit more doable for Divoli. This one's still a bit of a difficult spot to be in right now. They're going to head, of course, down towards the basement site. We've seen how powerful it is from the side of Turks and their own defenses. Question, of course, is can Divoli find that same success? On the side of the attack, well, it's going to be a lineup that wants to deal with these Romans, right? You've got the Deimos, you've got the Blitz. They're going to be going hunting. Side of Divoli, they're playing a little bit more reserved. No one on the top floor, a couple on the first floor, but for the most part, I think this one's going to be all about the objective and the execute towards the end of this one.
And I like the use of the Deimos over the Dokkaebi. So Divoli were using extensively the use of the Dokkaebi to try and clear these extensions, but he's just posted up right here, Travi.
Oh, that could have been massive there for the side of Divoli. Perhaps taking a little bit of confidence from the previous round and wanted to try and make it connect again. Unfortunately, not able to find it. It does bring Fiza down incredibly low HP, probably about 10 left in the pool there. But it doesn't really matter because the player is still going to be standing, and that puts Divoli in a bit of an early difficult spot there because look at the operator you've lost. You've lost your Fenrir, and that means all of those FNAT mines he had placed down, he can't reallocate which ones of those are active. Whichever two were active when he died, that's going to be it. You're not going to be able to change that now.
And it's really good work from the Turks to capitalise on that bit of aggression. Unfortunately for Keefe, it not working out, just didn't quite manage to find the head of his man. But I like the way they're using their coordination to deal with this extension. And this is what Divoli just missed. Divoli had the right ideas, but didn't quite have the execution to deal with these roamers. And Turks LFO have come out the gate swinging on their attack. But one thing I want to highlight to you, Travi, or ask you about is you've got two sets of high breach here. You've got the Habana and the Ace. Ace obviously posted up outside the main breach. He's isolated on his own. Obviously, Bandit the Cane on the wall. He's not going to get anything open on his own over there, is he?
No, he's going to have such a difficult time doing anything. And I mean, we've got a minute left on the clock, and both of those hard breaches, they've got most of the utility still in their back pockets. Bodov's not used a single little bit of it yet. And there comes the Twitch of Shock Solar. That's the idea. Send in the shock drones, get those walls available to be opened up where you can. But it's going to be difficult, and it's wasted so much time here for Turks LFO because what was a good aggressive start has stalled out a little bit here. And they're just going to have to try and brute force to remain this objective. But that's going to be an issue because Murat has the bandit trick, and all of a sudden, Turks, their way in, their planned entry in towards the objective, it's not available to them anymore. Final 30 seconds to go. This attack, they're just going to have to try and brute force this one. They have the shield available to them, but he gets caught in a pinch on Spiral. Marat and Choose with one apiece, and it brings Turks down too. Bodo's still outside the building, but it doesn't matter because Salim's getting the kills, makes things 2 versus 3, almost even, but 20 seconds to go. Got to recover the diffuser, and now you're all on your own. I've got a feeling, for as great as Salim has been all game, this one might just be a little bit too far-fetched.
He's found one though, as he's going to be hunting for the second, but that's going to be Choose to shut him down. As Travi, Bodov the whole round, just isolated on his own towards that garage side as the Turks just fizzled out there.
Yeah, I have to wonder, like, you got off to such a good aggressive start there, and it seemed for a moment like Turks LFO wanted to capitalize on that and start to really make a move off of the back of it. But then they just slowed out yet again. I think, as you highlighted, it's those breaches not being able to be opened up right. Doubling down on that hard breach means you're limited elsewhere. And then when you can't use it as early or perhaps in the way that you want to, and of course, Marit's on the bandit trick in there as well. That was the game plan for Turks LFO. It was interrupted by the defense, and it didn't really seem like they had a sufficient plan B in towards the objective. It didn't seem like they had an alternative considered. It was their way or the highway, and unfortunately for the side of Turks, they didn't quite go to plan, and it cost them severely.
No mirror from the side of Divoli on this piano site, I think is a really ballsy move. I think she's just insane how strong that operator is. Mirror, you can put one window where Maratis is right now towards contest towards lobby. You can put the second one upstairs where the warden is. You can test over the top floor. But that vertical gameplay right above where the bomb chassis is, that's the key part for the defenders. The reason there's such a hold up here from the defense is all of the site, there is nowhere safe to plant that's hidden from the vert. There's a tiny little cubby just next to Bench's door, which sometimes you can cheese a plant in, but it's extremely difficult to do, and that's why there's such an extended presence up here towards the top floor.
Yeah, and yeah, you put it perfectly there. That's why it's so important for these defenders to hold on to it. And of course, the attack can have to put a lot of resources into dealing with it, really, and trying to clear it out. Because as you say, they can't force that defuse down, which leaves them with the options of trying to go through all the kills, but then you have to go through the top floor anyway. So it's an unavoidable reality for the Turks. The question really comes in how they're going to be dealing with it. Seems like they're going to want to play a little bit for Slim, going on towards that gridlock. Going to deny any flanks to come through for the defense, because the Evoli, it's clear they do, some of the players do want to play that little bit more aggressive style. So being able to patch that one out there, using those track stingers, is going to be a great use for that operator. But around, and no one really died just as of yet. Turks poking and prodding to try and find some weaknesses in this defense.
Turks are looking to negate all of this vertical gameplay. They've got the Capital to smoke the vert, and they're trying to get this wall open into sight, but they can just avoid the top floor extension. The fire's going to force this player off those vertical angles that are going to be able to hold the breach. So they're cooking a little strat here that we've seen from Reload. The only problem is there's a guy above, and they've got the Legion on site to deal with. If Turks aren't clever or careful, they're going to get caught out by this.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens to Fees today. It's taken down by RWL, and for the side of Turks, you can try and force a smoke plant or whatever you want. All you want, the key operator on that top floor is going to be Keithy there, over on towards that Warden, because you can just see directly through those smokes. It completely negates all of that utility. With the hard breach gone as well, I feel like we're seeing a little repeat of the previous round here from Turks, where they've gotten themselves off to either a good or a bad start, depending on how you would look at it. But the issue now is they've now not been able to do what they wanted to do, and now it feels like they've stalled out a little bit. We're at the minute to go mark. Bodol's just going outside here in the corridor, taking a little bit of chip damage. Shots going to be running around the breach here. They want to try and find their way in, but without the clearance to do so, it's going to be difficult. Bodolf does take down Maritz, though, leveling us out 4 versus 4. Defuse is going to be attempted. Keithy, though, takes down Bodolf, but Salim has the cover. Choose, though, from above. They can see the feet, but they can't quite find the kill. Diffuser is stuck down for Turks. It's costly, though. And Gutter left 1 versus 3, makes it a 1 versus 2. Look at the HP on Choose, look at how low, sees the head, finds it ahead, and now it's just Keithy versus Gutter for this round. An opportunity for Turks to get themselves up onto map point, but does Gutter know he's been spotted out? The yellow ping's coming on through there, the Valkyrie camera's coming in on clutch. You can hear the sound, all he has to do is play the clock, play the time. C4's going to be thrown. Not quite going to find it, but Keithy might just try a defuse here. But Dubro's fake has to stick, it has to go, but no, not going to be able to do so. And that's going to be Turks LFO getting themselves up onto map series point here on Consulate.
This is a really bonkers attack coming in from the Turks. It looked like Divoli was ready for it. They had Valkyrie, the guy above, and the Legion all ready to contest that take coming in from the Turks, but as soon as they found the Legion, that was the go mark for the Turks. That was the only player they felt like could actually contest that bomb from going down. But in my opinion, the Warden has to do better. They knew where that bomb was going down. It was telegraphed by the Turks where that plant was going down, and just turned the goggles on. He's pre-fired through the smoke as a Warden. like it's a bit unfortunate for Divoli, but it unfortunately falls down to the Warden. It was his job to stop that going down. Once the fire passed, it was his job to try and find a way to deny that plant. But unfortunately for Divoli, just a couple of missteps coming in means that round stolen away from them.
Yeah, and that's it. Small little missteps, but massively important ones regardless of. And now it gives Turks a bit of breathing room. 3 match points to play with here. Win any one of these and they'll be taking the series. And just to highlight a bit of what we spoke about earlier on before the game, it's really important that one of these teams gets this done in regulation. That sets them up with the best possible chance to get themselves through into that second place spot. Of course, that's going to be decided by the game later on tonight, however. But you do have to consider that regardless of, it's going to be important they do this in regulation. Turks, they're the only team that can do this in regulation now. Win any one of the next 3 rounds, they're going to be doing it. And operator lineup that they're bringing, it's a little bit of an interesting one to me. Seeing the Aurora coming on through here, and operator that not seen a massive amount of since her introduction to the game, but combine that with the Sense, the Blitz, the Capital, and the Deimos, Turks, they want to play aggressive on this one.
And the Aurora is really cool. If you haven't seen this particular situation before, you can use it to shut the door to sight. You can also use it to shut the door of long desk. And what this allows you to do is have a bit of space to work with in what's normally considered a kill box. By shutting off that door, it negates any shotgun from playing close to deny you entry into projector. It also stops these long desk players contesting the angles into checkers. So it's a bit of a niche strat that Raw has been useful, but a really cool one at that. Actually becomes extremely useful in denying some of the key lines of sight that the defense need available to them. So Shoxel on the Raw is a really cool bit of tech, but it just seems like Turks LFO, they just seem as they can spot a gap, a chink in the armor here from Divoli.
Yeah, that's going to be it, right? If you're going to go aggressive and play a lineup like this for Turks, you need to fully commit to it, because if you half commit to it, it's just not going to work out. You don't have the utility for that secondary problem solving. So they need to make sure they've got the full commit. They know about this player that's prepped their way into admin. RWL here, going to be in a bit of a tough spot. And look at this, they've got the players on the breach, but here's the hop in, finds Shoxel, and that puts Turks in a difficult spot, and it just gets worse for them. Slim goes down. It's 3 versus 5. The attack from Spiral, it's red into 2, but chooses shut down. But the question is now for the remaining 2 players of Turks, they're stuck in a difficult position. All they can do is face the problem head on or run away. They're going to choose the latter of the 2 because they need to go and recover that diffuser outside of the admin repel. But the Blitz, you can hear him coming. RWL, you have the goggles, but not at the ready. Gets shut down. 2 versus 3 here for Turks. It's definitely not unwinnable, but it's far from a favourable position right now.
Although Turks, they've got rounds to burn, right? They're 6-3 up. They're probably thinking we can go for a bit of a pocket strat here, trying to decide if there was that, chink in the armor. But or is it kink in the armor? What's the phrase? Kink in the armor, I believe. As Maratz is going to get shut down as well, and whatever gap they saw, it just wasn't there. It might have been there once upon a time, but Divoli have shut that gap down. There is no way for the Turks to get themselves into sight. It just seemed like Divoli were everywhere they needed to be that round. As the Turks, I think it's just a bit poor from them, as whatever opportunity they saw, it just wasn't there in reality.
Yeah, and now, I mean, for Turks, I don't think they're going to be worried just as of yet. Even if this does go to a 6-5 scoreline, it does force Divoli to retreat towards that tertiary bomb site, which is going to make things quite difficult for them. Of course, to try and bring that over the line. And as I say, over time, it's not good for either of these teams. Turks really, really need to get this done here and now. 2 more rounds to play, so we're going to be going down to the basement. And from the side of Divoli, I'm quite curious to see how this one plays out here. They're going for quite an aggressive one, as we've seen from them a little bit on this basement objective so far, but really doubling down. Shoes going over towards the Oryx. Operator, of course, infamous for his mobility, and with a map as vertical, with as many hatches as Consulate, I think it could be quite an interesting pick, and certainly turn the tide of this one if he's in the right place at the right time.
And now we bring the mirror. So we bring the mirror for basement, which is good. I really like the addition of the mirror into this lineup. She can be extremely difficult to deal with. It doesn't look like Turks LFO have spotted this operator out. They've got the hard breach, obviously, on the Habana that can deal with this utility. But Mirror, especially when there's a low time situation where you've dealt with a lot of utility on the first or the third and second floor, and then you're attacking basement and you go, oh shoot, they have a mirror. It can be really difficult to deal with when all of your reserves are running on low. So if, as you mentioned, if the Oryx with that mobility combined with the Legion on this mid floor, if they can absorb a lot of the pressure, if they can absorb a lot of this utility, it will just make the mirror on site even more problematic for Turks in that late round, and that's what Divoli are going to be hoping to do. Waste as much time as they can without giving that advantage away.
Oh, this is an aggressive one here coming in through from the Oryx. Choose using the mobility of the Oryx to dash past the Visa window, get themselves back in towards safely in Tellers, and continue to contest this position here. This one is a difficult hold to spot. The idea isn't to hold it the entire round. Instead, it's to burn the time, and there seems to be an effort being made across the whole of Diavoli as they're looking Turks out of the building right now. Look, anytime the attackers do try and make an entry, it slaps right back in their face. They're locked out. Finally going to come on through. Chu's going to be running away there. Unfortunately, the Oryx dash doesn't quite go fast enough. Gutter gets the first of this round. It's 4 versus 5 now for the attacking team. Favourable position, but it's one we've seen Turks in before, and until they deal with Allred up here on piano, I don't think it's quite a safe round for the Turks just yet.
I think for Choose here, he needs to evaluate the risk versus reward of him staying around and hanging around this area. He was spotted out on numerous drones and decided to kind of do a loop back on himself, trying to hold on to this area for just a bit longer. On a map as big as Cons, there's so much more space for you to work with. I don't think you need to die on that hill in Tellers. You can back off towards server or back off towards one of your teammates and waste a lot more time that way. So I think just that risk versus reward not really paying off for him, as you know, an extra 10-20 seconds in the great deal of things is not really going to make much of a difference when you can hold that crossfire with your teammate and just hold the site down itself.
No, and speaking of the objective itself, Turks are starting to make their way in towards it now, but faced with a similar problem to what they had before, where they've got the bandit and of course the hard wall denial here. I'm only going to retreat back a little bit preemptively here, give a little bit of space up, but Max is still on the front line of this one, ready to play the bandit trick at any given position in security, and that's going to make this push through here for Turks LFO difficult. The Blitz spotted at the end of the corridor, standing there. C4's going to go, not going to find it. Smart Maritz stuck in a corner, can't really make anything happen because of the electrification, but then gets responded right back on through. Visa goes down, and Turks, they're going to have to stall out for a minute. Bodolf gets one back on towards Keefe, but Maritz is still alive and kicking here, and this could be the problem here for the side of the attack, because that player on Diavoli is going to make it. And look at this, they've got no entry in from the front here. It's all on the players in the objective itself. And Gutter and Shoxel so low in HP. The shield goes down, 2 left standing, and the defense just on time alone should be able to hold on to this one unless Joxel can make some magic happen, takes down RWL, picks up the diffuser. No choice but to stick for a plant here. The question is, can the cover of Bodolf hold on? Can he deny? No, he cannot. Matt escapes down with the planter, and Diavoli bring us all the way through to the brink of regulation.
And it was just that war of attrition that Diavoli have managed to win. There was just so much utility stacked up to repel the Turks on that attack. But one adaptation I want to point out is they brought the MAV instead of the can openers to get the wall open. You'll remember in the last round on Basement, Bandit came and re-tricked the wall. They wanted to make sure there was no opportunity for that to happen. So rather than trying to use a can opener and get access in through that stacks wall, they've just brought the MAV this time. There is no counter to the MAV in that situation. So a great line of sight opened up by the MAV, but unfortunately just the crossfires are too strong from the side of Divoli as they repel the Turks once again. So they claw back 1 match point, but still another match point here for Turks to close this game out in regulation time.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the timeline here, and it's sort of the big thing, right? This tertiary bomb site. It's theoretically the weakest place for the defense to play right now. Of course, likely going to be Piano, unless we see a pop-up here from the split site. Nope, seems like we're going to be sticking towards Piano. This is the best opportunity for the attack to get something done and dusted over the line, and it's, you know, as we say, it's the typical expectation at 2-4 half here. For Turks, obviously, based on the previous half, that'll be enough to project them into the regulation win here. For Diavoli, this is their opportunity to change up that pace. Of course, Turks taking their time out now, so hopefully they're going to be going into this round a little bit refreshed with a new look on things and a bit of a different strategy that's hopefully going to project them through. And I already like what I'm seeing a bit more. Finally, we're seeing the buck brought through, an operator that to me is so important on an objective like Piano, and we're finally seeing him being brought along.
Yeah, and this buck can just give you so much utility. It can just give you so much vertical control. And the thing I like about Buck compared to like something like the Ram especially, is it's a lot more versatile in what angles you want to open. The Ram can just open so much space that sometimes it can work against you as well. The defenders can think, oh, there's so much verticality opened up, I can predict sort of where the attacker is going to be to peak the vert. With the buck, you've got a lot more freedom into where you can use that utility. But the main thing is, especially when we're attacking this mid floor, you can use the verticality from above and below as well. So if Gutter chooses to, he can dislodge some of these site anchors by going from below as well as from above. If that comes into play later, we'll have to see.
That's it. You can really get a good lodge here and moving these players out of position. Of course, for Diavoli, they are going to be committing towards this top floor here, seeing how much they can hold. 4 C4s in back pocket as well. So a lot of explosions going to be coming on through this time. Of course, that vertical, that is so prevalent on this objective. You can use it right against the attackers. Get someone below, feed the intel in from the Black Eyes, from those captured Mozzie drones, and just blow them straight out of this one. For the side of Turks, well, they're just going to have to start by clearing this one out here. They're going to have to try and get these players on through. Juices takes it down. Not too much going on just yet early on in the round here. It's more so whether Turks, they're just assessing where they can find these openings here in this defensive hold, find the weak points, and then they need to start to apply compression.
They've only going for some kind of weird pocket strike here. They're trying to hide the warden posted up on yellow here. Mozzie's doing his absolute hardest to try and shoot all of these drones to make sure that Turks and the foe cannot spot this player out. Hood up with the Flores should spot out this warden, opting not to use the Flores drone to maybe kill him on the drone, but now the warden has been spotted out. This is going to be the first roadblock that Turks and the foe need to deal with.
Yeah, that's it. And Keithy's playing a very difficult angle to clear there towards yellow, and he's playing it with the shotgun as well, making it really, really difficult for them to clear. The drop through is going to come on through, but they're aware of the player playing up towards that off this side, making things difficult. Having 2 C4s going to be thrown. One of them is going to find its mark. Warden is taken down there by the blitz, and it's kills for the Turks LFO here. Makes it a 4 versus 3 now, and the remaining defender on this top floor here is going to be Alred. Does have a third C4 available to him in the pocket. Question is, can he find the impact? Of course, you're going to be looking for the blitz here. Phaser and Shocks have taken damage. So they're already lethal radius. That C4 going to be exemplified in this round here. Spotted the shield out. Now who's going to have to run away from it and try and get back to your team with some level of safety. But Turks, they're going to make the cut-off quite difficult here.
And Turks have got so many drones left. They've still got 6 drones available to spot out all of these remaining players. We're going to shoot the foot of Caesar. He gets away with one there as the pre-fire almost finding him. But Turks, they're doing a great job of taking this reset. They understand they've got the advantage. It's a 4v3 to them with the shield up as well. They just need to find a way to, they just need to decide how they want to execute the rest of this round. But it seems like although they've got these drones, they don't have the information they need, as Alred's going to find one just been a nuisance on this top floor, Travi.
Yeah, and that's it. We spoke about earlier on how Alred's been the difference maker so far for Diavoli, and now in a really good position to keep this round going their way and project us in towards overtime. Look at the clock here for Turks. It's been going slow. 15 seconds. They just need to push it towards the objective now, but they've not got the means to do so. They just need to shoot their way in. Salim gets one. Bodov gets taken back down. 2 versus 2, diffusers going down, it needs to be stuck, but no! Marat falls through the hatch, and with that, the game is going to fall through the hands of Diavoli and Turks LFO. It may have taken them 12 rounds, but they got it done in regulation. The full 3 points out of their final group stage game, and they've set themselves in one of the best possible positions here to get themselves in towards that second seed.
And this is why the Turks are one of the best. With 10-20 seconds left on the clock, they were making every second count in that round, trying to decide where their execute needed to come in. It ended up being a direct hit coming in. They realized they didn't need to clear that top floor player. They found that little pocket of space that the vertical player couldn't see, but it was the Twitch on the cover, Salim the Dream. Who else would it be? Who clutched around at? He's found that player above, and then he's been able to use that hatch to cover his teammate to get the kit down. It got a little bit dicey, but Turks in that mid phase towards execute just didn't quite know where they wanted to get the attack coming on, but they got themselves together. They got it over the line as they now put the pressure on Hoogtepunt to win their next game.
Yeah, and that's it. Turks, speaking of Salim as well, 19-5 throughout that game. What an incredible performance. Almost a 4 KD. Absolutely ridiculous stuff there. But a great performance, and certainly when that solidified Turks up there in that conversation, top 2. And as you say, it's now about this next game, right? Team VIP versus Psychopaths. Both the Psychopaths, they're locked in top 2 currently. However, they need to stay in there. They need to win this game to stay in there. If they don't win this game, if Team VIP can take it, that top 2 position now goes to Turks LFO based on the result of that previous game. So, as you said, Hoogtepunt are now in a much more, not difficult spot, but perhaps a much more hotly contested spot. The pressure is going to be on the Team VOP. Top 2's not in their possibilities right now. No matter what they do, they can't get themselves all that way. They can't bring us to that themselves in towards that second place position. It's more about for them. Can they play some devil's advocate here? Can they knock Hoogtepunt out of the run it and then group stage with a little bit of a statement? That's the real thing that's going to be coming up for this one next.
And well, we'll have to see what we can cook up for us as the Rain of Highlights just playing out here. I think it's a great game to kick us off. They've only put up a great fight, so really got to give credit to them for putting up a great performance. I think they adapted really well when they did finally make those adaptations, but for me, it was Diverli's attack that killed them. They needed to make adaptations sooner on their attack, and if there's one thing you're going to learn from watching something here on Voltage League, is adapt. Just go with the adaptations, right? Although you might have strats in mind, you've got nothing to lose, especially when you're 2-3 rounds down. You have something has to change, right? You have to change and adapt something to try and give you some success. So that'll be the one sort of main takeaway for Diverli going into the next game, is trying to make some of those adaptations just a little bit sooner.
Yeah, change and adaptation. Yeah, change and adaptation is going to be key for those two teams. Of course, both will be confirmed for the playoffs. And speaking of, we've got another game coming up and through. We're going to change the teams up coming up here. We've got Team VOP versus Hoogtepunt, our final best of one of the day, final best of one of group stage, coming your way in just a couple of minutes.
it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this.
Back it up, back it up.
Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this.
Back to the back to the back to the back to the back.
Take it back, take it back. Back it up, 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 back it up,
Back it up, back it up, back it up.
take it back, take it back. Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this.
Back it up, back it up.
Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this.
Back to the back to the back to the back to the back.
Welcome to the XXL Nutrition HQ. XXL Nutrition is the most popular online supplement brand in Europe. Our proteins, pre-workouts, dietary supplements, and of course our sportswear is developed with the greatest possible care. We are known for providing the highest quality products and the best service. Daily, we are working with a motivated team on new developments, promotions, and quality control to serve our customers in the best possible way. XXL Nutrition is an established name in the B2B and B2C market. Therefore, we can also be found in many gyms, supplement stores, and supermarkets. Offering the highest possible quality is the foundation of our brand. Only the best ingredients and materials are used for our products. Everyone at our company has passion for health and fitness. That's why we want to provide our customers, and of course ourselves, with the best products. We prepare all orders in our own warehouse, which has the capacity to process more than 10,000 orders daily. Thank you for supporting XXL Nutrition. We are XXL, the most popular brand in sports nutrition.
And here, live at the MGM Music Hall in Boston, Massachusetts, we make some more. Welcome to the Rainbow Six Invitational 2025.
Are you ready to make history? Game number 1 begins now!
It is Hoogtepunt Company Academy! It's a one-team!
We can't quite see it, the punt.
Oh, it's down a beautiful
Cyber isn't going to let him just sit on this. Oh, brilliantly played!
It seems like Fury are not just outnumbered, but they've lost a couple. And Philippe Fossey, the BDS steal that round for Furia. He's working a triple for Dream. It's all up to Nate and Philippe Fox now. Numbers in a disadvantage for them. And Nate is on the floor.
Pressurization complete.
First map looks to be locked on to be theirs. Bring out the 1v1.
Unbelievable stuff from the Brazilian. It's all up to
Renee's been here before. He's got to step across. It's all about this 1 versus 1. He wins it out. Renee's going for the plant. Simon's got 3. We're down towards this last 30 seconds.
Picking his manoeuvre in here.
Shot in the back again. Shaiko is going up to him. match up big.
Andy, let's see if the swing.
The waiting. Solotov's down. 3 days off. He's also down.
And welcome back to the final day of Voltage League Season 5 Group Stage, everybody. My name's Joey. This is Damn Guns here joining me. And we've just been treated to an absolute gem of a matchup between Diavoli and Turks LFO, the latter of which just about able to take the victory for themselves in 7-5 fashion. But now here comes what, in my mind, is the more important game of the evening, right? This is the one that is going to decide who is our second place team, who is getting that bye game in, of course, our playoffs bracket.
Yeah, this is a big game coming up, right? This is Sakopatas' chance to solidify second spot to claim that other semi-final spot alongside NXT. So let's just give you a reminder of the map bans of what we're going to be coming into in this game. So, Travi, do you want to walk us through these?
Yeah, well, you know what, fairly standard set of map bans here. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Lair getting left in dangerously close to the end yet again. Actually, a bit of a toss-up here between Clubhouse and Nighthaven for our final. So it's two maps that I think somewhat are similar in the kind of way they're played. Obviously, one's a lot older than the other, but Nighthaven Labs is going to be our final battleground here. And you know, I like this map. I love Nighthaven Labs. It's probably my favourite map game at the minute, both to cast and to play on, so quite happy to be seeing it here, and it's hopefully going to be giving us quite a well-rounded matchup here to end of group stages.
Yeah, Labs is a phenomenal map. It's phenomenal in every sense. It's not too big, it's not too small. There's the right amount of strategy for it, so I cannot wait to see the carnage that's going to unfold here on Labs. So let's take a look at that. VIP coming into this. So this is going to be your team VIP roster and some of their stats. Is there anyone that stands out to you, Travi, quickly, so we can get this game underway for the people?
I think for me, what's standing out to me in a minute for Team VIP, and I don't like to harp on the negative things too often here, it's going to be those entry stats, it's going to be those KDs. You know, most of the players here, 4 of the 5 here are sitting on negative entry stats at the minute. 3 of the 5 are sitting on negative KDs. It's not the greatest look on paper, of course. Of course, it is only paper. Siege is not played on paper. I think we all well know that. But, you know, after years of watching this, after just watching a tournament where CAG got to a grand final, Siege is not a game played on paper. So, yeah, the stats don't say it all, but it certainly maybe isn't the best look for Team VIP right now, and there's certainly the underdogs going into this.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the lineup coming in for Sakopatas as well. Pretty much virtually unchanged with their stats. This roster's been together for a long time, so it's not unusual to see the same faces, the same roster coming in for Sakopatas, and we just know the quality of this team. This team's been absolutely cooking for a long time, so looking to keep their reign of T3, T4 going strong at the top, because they are knocking on the door of being T2 giants as well. So anybody that stands out to you here that we want to touch upon quickly?
I was speaking about entry stats over on the side of Team VIP. I think it's fair to highlight them positively here. For Seeker Pass, of course, a shot on 21 and 9 on the entry. That's that's the double entry stat there. That's really impressive. And everyone else on the team is either breaking even or in that positive entry stat there. So generally speaking, Seeker Pass, they're on quite an aggressive team normally when they play these things. They're very great at getting these kills, the KDs, the stats in front of you. I think really do highlight that here, of course, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they play up here. And sort of in this position, I think they're going to be the Goliath in this David versus Goliath matchup. I feel we've got going on here.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good matchup coming in to see who claims that second spot. Well, if Psychopaths can claim that second spot. While we've got just a little bit of time before this game gets underway, do VIP move up the leaderboard? Do they get an advantage going into the playoffs if they get to win this game?
So they obviously won't get a extra bye game. That's the thing. They can't get into that second place position. They're currently on 9 points at the minute. At the minute, you need 15 to get. So they can't get in towards that top 2 position. What they can get, though, is, of course, more favourable seeding, which will change up who they're playing against, of course. And I think it makes quite a statement for Team VIP. You're looking at them. They're currently sitting 3-3 on terms of win-losses throughout the whole of this throughout the whole of group stages here. So they're currently sitting in a pretty good, sort of a middle of the table position. And this could be the possibility to cement themselves further as perhaps one of the good teams and perhaps someone that I don't think everyone's been giving their respects to, because I don't know if we can put up the predictions for this matchup here, of course. But I believe these ones were a little bit off memory. I believe these were 50-50, a little bit
It's
more
50-50.
split up here.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
50-50.
casters versus producer and observer on this one. I think me and you have both gone for Psychopaths, Unnamed Gamer, and Rowan, our producer. So Rowan's our producer, Unnamed Gamer's our observer for today. Both of which have gone for Team VIP. So a lot more even this time around on the predictions between these two teams. But I think it's not a disrespect to VIP to say that the underdogs coming into this, Psychopaths, just their expertise, their class, how long the roster's been together. You can't get to that level of cohesion. It's very rare that you see that without the time put in, and that's why Psychopaths are the giants they are. That's why also for NXT to show how well they've been playing when not been a roster for that long together. I believe they only started playing when the EML quals came around. It's just amazing to see that is a team that have been able to rival sort of the Psychopaths and the Turks at the top of T2, T3 at the moment.
Yeah, and that's it. Some of these great teams here, consistency amongst rosters is a thing we don't often see in sort of T2, T3 a lot in Siege. A lot of times we see these teams switching up quite frequently. We have some consistent teams here. Obviously, Turks, LFO, they've been together for quite a while now. Side, as you say, Seeker Pass, they've been together for ages at the minute. So they're kind of sitting there, as teams that are experienced, and that level of consistency, it allows you to have that deeper level of play, that deeper level of, I can trust my teammates to do X, Y, Z. And I think on a map like Nighthaven Labs, where that coordination is certainly going to be required, because on a map like Border, it can be anyone's game. The team play is not unneeded, but it is not as much of a requirement. Something like Labs, very breach centric, very much going to be, of course, very difficult to get opened up here for the side of Seeker Pass. That experience, I think, coming into this one is going to be very, very helpful for them in this best of one.
So the one thing I want to ask you, Travis, while we're waiting for this game to get underway, what did you make of the reload event? So obviously being out in Brazil once again, the fans looked electric. But what did you make of the event itself? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it?
You know what? I think as an event, to summarize, I'm not going to talk on the format too much. I think everyone's had that discussion already. As a one-off fun event, I think it was a lot of fun. The group stages was very fun to see the matchups there. It was exciting all the way through. And as someone who always roots for the APAC regions and the underdog stories in Siege, seeing as much as they admittedly didn't do the greatest in it, seeing CAG make that grand final was probably the highlight of my month. I was there Saturday night watching the match with a few of my friends, and they were all, I believe it was wildcard they were playing against me. I was like, oh, the wildcard, and I go, oh, CAG are going to make the ground. Oh, loving it, loving life, and of course Siege X as well. That's probably obviously the more important point to discuss itself. Obviously, seeing the new patch being played through in terms of the maps themselves. Obviously, not everything's different, but the environmental aspects I like them, in my opinion. I think they're really, really great. They're not going to play into every round. I don't think that's the idea, because if they did, it'd be a different game. But I do like the fact that they have the impacts there. I don't know how you feel about it, Angers, but I think the map changes themselves are positive ones.
It looks phenomenal. Like the maps look, the reworks look brilliant, man. They look so good. As you know, I love just the aesthetic that we're returning to. It used to be a gritty game when I started playing. As you spoke about, I started playing this game a long, long time ago. It's come up to 9-10 years I've been playing this game, so it's crazy how long I've been playing this game. But it's just, I love the way it's returning to being gritty Siege. It's got that sort of like gritty aesthetic to it, which I really, really like. As I think Siege lost its way for a little while, and we're returning back to the roots, which is really nice. So I'm really excited to see what CGX has in store for us.
Yeah, and on CGX, well, I can't believe we've been speaking about it for a couple of minutes now. I've not actually brought it up. The brand new ban system. I think this is probably going to be the biggest change coming out of CGX, of course, especially at a competitive level. If you weren't watching Reload, first and foremost, I go back and watch some of the Reload games. There were some impeccable games over the course of the week on Reload. There were some really, really great matches coming on through. Do go give someone a watch. But of course, not now, because there is best of one coming. Watch this best of one first, then go watch the games. But of course, this new ban system, if you weren't watching, you ban attackers. If you're playing defense, for example, you'll ban 2 attackers at the start of the half. And then the halfway point of the half, so 3 rounds after they've been played, you'll ban a second attacker. And then you swap round on the half, and then you ban the other side. You don't have to play against any bans you've made yourself. I think that's a very important distinction. And of course, for the first time in the history of Siege, we're seeing a ban system that's reactive. You can play a couple of rounds and then adjust what bans you make based on how your opponent's played. And I think that's absolutely massive for the game.
And the other thing to touch upon, I think you said it just a little bit backwards, is you still get in the comp format, you still get your 2 bans at the start, and then it's at the quarter mark you get your 3rd ban. So the defenders get an additional attacker ban, and then the attackers get an additional defender ban. It was very interesting how some teams were a lot more reactive to it than others. Some teams very much just banned the 3rd most popular ban on the map that's always banned anyway, which is very interesting. But you saw other teams like Secret and Twister with his coaching style. They were almost target banning a lot of different things in people's lineups. If they saw a setup, they were like, we're going to break that setup. I think where it gets really interesting is with an operator that's used everywhere. So, for example, like we saw a mute ban coming in.
Oh, yeah, we saw a lot of those.
So, also almost every bomb site can have a mute on it. So, that ban can have a huge impact on a team's strategy coming into the next rotation. Because having it at that quarter mark means if a team has won 3 defenses, if they are going to go for a perfect rotation again, you want to try and get a ban that's going to get the most value out of the ban. You want to try and pick something that's used everywhere by the defense or by the attack to try and make your life easier on that side.
Yeah, and as well, something from the ban system is you can use it as almost as a pocket strategy of sorts. So I believe this was something Fett highlighted out, of course, Fettuccini, coach for Beast Coast back last year in Manchester. He pointed this one out. It was W7M quite early on in towards the group stage here, of course. And one of the things they did, the W7M, so they played the first couple rounds of their defensive half, just as normal, fairly standard defensive half. And then at that quarter way mark, they banned out the Brava. They got rid of that Brava. And of course, what did she do? She hacks utility, takes away utility from the defensive side. And with that ban placed upon the other attackers, you denied all of that utility. But we're going to pause that discussion for a minute because we have actually got a game here. We promise you there is a game to be played. It's Nighthaven Labs, a best of 1 to decide the 2nd place seeding coming in here for Voltage League Season 5 group stage. Can Seco Patas hold on to their skip and their bye game, or will Team VI play the upset? That's the question being raised. Let's go find out.
Let's find out indeed, Travi. Let's get into the bans. What are you hoping to see banned out here, Travi?
Oh, you know what? We're on Nighthaven Labs on the attack. I think hard breach bans are quite a lot of fun here on Labs. It does make things more difficult for teams, but I'm going to be honest with you, Amguns. It's going to be a shield operator. I'd be surprised to anything see. Okay, it's a buck. Never mind.
I was going to say, I've got my fingers crossed to see what it's going to be, as it is the buck indeed. You're completely right. As give me 2 seconds just to make sure I'm the same as you.
That's of course,
seems like you're crystal
little
ball there before I got to see it. So it's in
Yeah.
Blackbeard being banned out next. No surprises there. I think the defense is where it gets really interesting. We spoke about in the previous matchup how important the Caden to Borrow combination is to target ban.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if these teams want to feed into that or if they want to ban something else. But no, it will be the Cade being banned out. So it should be relatively straightforward now to get a lot of the site walls open. That'll be a major checkpoint in the rounds we want to look out for the teams are doing in the right way, because Mav now just becomes extremely strong in helping teams get things open.
Yeah, and that as Army as well, something operator that, you know, great for ground, holding this ground, helpful in this territory. You think towards rafters on the top floor, taking her off the board. It places more importance on something like a mirror in that kind of somewhat similar-ish role. But doesn't actually seem like we're going to be seeing a mirror. Repeating of the best of one we've just had, it seems like we're actually going to be seeing the Clash pick come on through here for the side of Team VIP. Rooney going to be giving this defensive shield operator a go, using her a little bit yet again before that rework that's going to be coming in the attack. Responding with a shield of their own. Of course, Montaigne was banned previously. Not going to be banned this time around, though. Is going to be let on through. Blitz available to the attack as well. Obviously, that Buck ban coming through. So I'm curious to see how this one plays out for Team VIP here. Buck ban does interest me. It's a very vertical operator, of course. And ban we don't see all too often, I don't feel. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. But of course, we've got to start on this top floor first and see exactly how the defensive Team VIP is going to shake up. And they're hiding that Clash pick.
The reason the Buck has been banned out is the Kopatas love to send the Deimos Buck combination below, specifically on the top floor that VIP have chosen to defend first. Last time I got to watch this team compete, they love it. There's so many key positions that you can clear from below, and the Buck makes it extremely easy to clear those positions, namely next to the bomb chassis, on the pillar in the site as well as various points in command center. If you just can get control of below, which a lot of the time is relatively uncontested from the defense, it can give you so many different ways of pressuring the site and making it awkward for the defenders. That's why VIP, they've done their homework here. I think it's a proper target ban against Kopatas coming in from them.
Yeah, and I suppose that's another thing as well as a top team, you know, here sort of in Voltage League. One of the teams towards the top side of things is you're going to have a little bit of a target placed on your back, and teams like Team VIP in that mid sort of league standing in the table, they're going to need to do their homework to give themselves the best opportunity in this matchup. They're going to need to understand exactly who they're going to be playing up against, and it is obviously evident they have done their homework there with that Buck ban, as you say. So, for now, at least, nothing going to be going on in the early round here. Just getting walls open. Fairly standard course here for the side of Nighthaven Labs.
Yeah, it looks like a very heavy warehouse take coming in. It's very treating it basically exactly like what you do on a Rafters Clubhouse Execute. You're going to send them onto your Rafters, which is completely uncontested from the side of VIP. My only worry is you're giving up so much control to Kopatas here. They've got Rafters and IT fully with 2 minutes to work with. You're giving them so much time to pick apart the rest of this defense.
Yeah, and not only that as well, any retakes towards IT, especially there, you can see, of course, that's going to be Dano on it, is on the Kali. Was on the Kali, correction. Going to be taken out there by one of the players from Team VIP, and that's suddenly made this position of this Montaigne a little bit harder, because he's isolated. He does have a teammate behind him supporting him, but that cover from outside VIP, IT, sorry, that's going to be no more. It's going to make things just a little bit more difficult for the attack here. But, as you said, they've got so much time to work with here. They've got, you know, a good position and find themselves in 5 versus 4 now.
And we've got more shield action. The Clash being hidden is now working out beautifully to push back this Monty. As Martin's going to be taken down to low HP, dueled out beautifully by Shorten, but the trade comes in from Team VIP here, Travi.
Yeah, and that's it. VIP coming up huge there. That Deimos down below. They expected it to come. They had players playing down below in pairs, and I don't think Seekerbatas had the read in towards it. With the shield going down, it's all onto Raxo here in the 1 versus 3. Shield behind him. Benry running outside, fishing for the kill. Bandit up close. He has no idea where to look because there's VIP players everywhere. Bolton's going to be the one to close out. You know, that's a really great start here to the round from Team VIP there. Really, really great round there from them. Of course, lockout early on there. Some really aggressive picks. And I just don't think Seekerbatas were prepared for it. Sending that Deimos in below on his own. Obviously, as you said, Team VIP have done the homework. They anticipate this Buck-Deimos combo, but without the Buck, Deimos is on his own, and you saw exactly what happens there when he's isolated alone, and it gave Team VIP a much-needed sort of hand up in that one, and quite a comfortable top floor hold.
I think the Clash pick and the hiding the Clash is the sole reason that Skopatas have been surprised there. Also, for those of you that don't know, the way Labs is designed, that one specific corner in IT is your godsend for hiding things. Sometimes you see in ranked, people will take Cav and shift W out of the objective as fast as possible to try and find a hidey spot. Here on IT in Labs, which is where that room was next to the site, it's basically extremely reliable to be able to deny drones from getting anywhere near that area, because there's not really a whole lot of access points for drones to get into IT other than coming at warehouse. So you can quite easily situate someone in the warehouse stairs to just look out for those drones, and it's worked to a treat for Team VIP to hide that clash and surprise the Hoogtepunt with a bit of a Achilles heel, it looks like.
Yeah, they just felt prepared in that run. I think that'd be the best way to describe it for VIP. Not only did they anticipate what was coming, but they also anticipated how to bring this kind of question mark, almost X factor of their own there. Really great stuff from VIP. What I love to see from a good defensive team, and it set them off to a great start here. However, look at this position from Bolton here. It's been droned out. I don't think he's going to be quite aware he's been spotted. He's going to look for the swing, but caught out from the player on the roof. Sharton's going to find it, and it's a great start there for the side of Hoogtepunt. Is there collapsing on this top floor player. One does remain. That is, of course, going to be Martin, but just going to retreat away here and let the Deimos hunt expire. Just give that control over to Hoogtepunt as they start to make down there towards the basement.
They do indeed, and it's a lovely bait onto Boltan. It's the Deimos gave away the audio cues to try and bait the swing, which worked out beautifully, but Martin's found himself in a bit of a dodgy spot here as the Jackal pings are going to keep pinging him away. He's got to try and find a way to escape this net that Hoogtepunt are putting onto him here.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to be a real difficult net to escape from now. MX-Teen, oh, look at this. Now in a real difficult spot. Trying to make the retreat, but there's the vertical above. It's a difficult spot. Going to be caught from Deimos behind. Unfortunately, you stall in that run out, and that's what's going to cost you. 3 versus 5 now for the defense. A much better looking attack here for Hoogtepunt as they get themselves a 2-man advantage here. However, upstairs, Greco wants to continue to challenge here on this first floor. We have as well going to be up there. Really down below on the basement, but not going to be needed just yet. The Warden takes down one. Sharton falls. And you can see the players here as Hoogtepunt step putting a lot of contention over towards this vent inside, but we can just escape away with his life, and it gives Team VIP a lifeline into this one.
And this is where the Candelas are going to be huge. There's 2 flashbangs, 2 smokes, and the Candelas force the Hoogtepunt before they execute. They should be able to figure out, on clearing these angles on the vert, where the remaining defenders are going to be and where this utility needs to be placed to get themselves into sight, as Ying seems to be full sending it here, Travis.
Yep, that's it. Here comes the hop drop in from Hoogtepunt. Do VIP have the idea? I'm not entirely sure just yet if they're aware that there are players inside of the objective. Vertical being held by Raxo here. It's making Greco's position insanely difficult to hold. Going to be caught off by it there. Eventually shut down. And that's just a 2 versus 4. But Rooney keeps the game alive, makes it a 2 versus 3. Raxo goes down, pops the Vulcan canister, but with the Candelas flooding on in, can't last much longer than that. And with that goes the round. Hoogtepunt has taken a much better look in here on the second attacking round here, having the idea and being able to commit through from a solid start on that top floor, pushing the players down, funneling them on through. Eventually, they get the closure down towards the basement, and they get, again, just a much better looking round from them.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. Hoogtepunt's game sense has paid off beautifully. They knew exactly where they needed to position themselves. They knew exactly how to cut off VIP's reinforcements and just put a complete chokehold onto VIP. But the reason they've got so much time and they can do that so well is their brilliant work on the entry. I think they've understood that VIP look to get aggressive. They want to challenge them early, and they've played into that beautifully. Hoogtepunt have understood how to bait these entries and how to work together, and more importantly, how to work as a team. They're taking 3v1s, 4v1s against single roamers, and that's why I think for Team VIP, if they want to keep being aggressive like this, they need to buddy up with each other, because there's too many guns pointing at them otherwise.
Yeah, that's it. There's way too many guns right now, and it's making things very difficult for them. They've got to do what they did in that first round. Just try and, I think, where VIP can excel in this one, I think it's going to be in that wild card factor very much. Try and play that little bit of an off style, bring some crazy operator pixel off. We see him bolting on towards the Vigil, hide from Hoogtepunt. We saw how much emphasis they're placing on that roam clear and that Deimos especially. Vigil, perfect counter to deal with that there. If you're playing right with the Prestian team, you can lure the attackers into some very dangerous positions and make things incredibly difficult for them to clear.
And also, what's very interesting is the Hoogtepunt have a very rigid structure to the way they pick their lineups. They almost always follow the 2 roam clear, 2 vertical operators, but in this case, they've swapped out what's normally a buck for the knock in this case, trying to get a bit cheeky with it, trying to almost out monkey the team VIP here, trying to lurk their way in and get a bit explosive with it. Is going to be the Dano on the knock.
Yeah, and that's it. Bolton is going to be droned out here, so eventually going to have to fall back from connector, and it just makes sure that Hoogtepunt have the idea that there is someone that will do. The Jackal ping comes in clutch there. I don't know if they were quite aware that the peek out there from the side towards meeting was going to be found, but eventually, speaking of found, Bolton is taken down there by that Nook spoke about, and a little bit of all chat coming on through as well. Forever takes down Weehurk, and suddenly this one looks a lot more difficult for Team VIP here. 3 versus 5, and now they're in a real disadvantage spot with their massive roam being cleared out.
So Hoogtepunt are just tearing this roam game apart as Forever finds another one as well. It's all down left to Martin with the C4 in hand, trying to get something going. That C4 is not going to find anything as he's got 5 different players to duel here, Travis.
Yep, Ace Clutch going to be required here to bring this one back. Does a lot of damage towards the Deimos of Shardon. Does eventually find the pick back, but it's still a 1 versus 4. Still a difficult spot. Gets spotted on the hatch drop here. There's a player to catch him. It's going to be Dano and Hoogtepunt. They're going to take themselves a 2nd round here. And after that 1st round, they're looking much better. It's similar to what we saw from Turks, starting to warm into things a little bit here. After that 1st round hurdle, they're now looking better. Of course, Team VIP, they can head back up towards this top floor of command server. The thing is, besides Hoogtepunt, they're going to be expecting a clash. If they don't get the identification, they're going to be expecting it to come on through. There is 0 point in hiding Rooney this time around. The real question for me comes in, how exactly does Hoogtepunt deal with it? Because as you said previously, that clash was one of the major reasons to why that 1st round went so poorly for the attacking side. They know what to expect this time. There's no hidden surprises, no crazy secret strategies this time around. VIP trying a similar thing. The real question is, how does Hoogtepunt respond and change things up?
Yeah, and it seems like they're going to be bringing the clash again. No need to hide it this time around, as I think Hoogtepunt will be expecting it. The Cali will be a counter to this clash as well, but the one thing I want to see from Team VIP is they need to double up with each other. So Hoogtepunt in the last 2 rounds, all they had to do was just wait patiently with open arms, and Team VIP unfortunately walked right into them. So this time around, especially on this top floor, it's a lot easier to huddle together and take fights as a team. The clash as well, giving you that movable mirror, should aid in being able to fight Hoogtepunt as a team. But Hoogtepunt, their biggest challenge will be, can we kill this clash? Can we deal with it? With most likely the Cali in this case to give ourselves that opening.
Yeah, that's it. The Cali going to be doing a massive job there to open it up. It's pretty play C4 from Bolton, but never mind. C4 has been taken out. Bit of bandit tricking here being attempted by Bolton. I think the idea is just try and get him to set the utility down and then destroy it with those lances. Of course, they're not on the EMPs where they do disable it. We have the EMP. Gets the freebie onto 1, and that is going to be massive there for VIP. As Seiko goes down, and that is your ace loss. That's your sole hard breach operator lost here for the side. Oh, nice shot from Dano. Does get the trade back, but the issue is you're still 4 versus 4.
And after the dust settles, the problem is the Fenrir for the ace. I think he'll take that any day of the week, as Ace didn't get a chance to get anything open with his hard breach. So it was already a challenge for the side of Hoogtepunt. It's just got even worse. Trying to use this vertical gameplay, just trying to get some pressure onto the site itself. Without those breaches open, that one-way pressure is just never going to be enough.
No, that is going to be ever so difficult there. And now, of course, it's time ticking away here for the side of the attack. How do they exactly get this one done and across the board? Sean making their way up the stairs here. Going to be trying to get the looking towards the objective, but Rico holding the close angle. C4 still available and now backed up by that clash. Direct trade there onto Shard and makes it a 3 versus 3. Forever stucks the clash in a bit of a rock and a hard place between 2 grenades, but can't quite find the kill off the back of it. Dano one elsewhere. Bolton and Rooney, all that remain right here. It's 2 versus 3, but with the air jabs coming on in this clash, she's running out of ground to retreat away from here. And the bandit, he's spotted out by the Deimos scanner now. They're going to know where he is, but wait, no, there's a mute jammer available. Bolton can just hide. Bolton can play the X Factor in this round, but no, gives his position away, misses the shots. And this is still a position where Hoogtepunt, they've got a lot of time to work with, a minute left to go, and these 2 remaining defenders, they're in such a tough spot right now.
They are indeed, as it's not looking good for Psychopaths. They've got to find these remaining bodies. They've got to get something going here, Travi.
Yeah, that's it. They've really got to try and get something going. The death mark attempted yet again, going to fail yet again, and now they're going to try and peek towards the player on blue. The Deimos comes in, gets sent straight back out. But Raxo, caught with a flashbang in hand, gives Bolton the golden opportunity to clutch up, and that he will do. Takes Team VIP their second round and brings them through towards the second floor of holds that really probably shouldn't have worked. Quite honestly, I don't think that one should have really worked out for them, but it keeps things even. It keeps things 2-2 here, and obviously on Nighthaven Labs, the defense is slightly more favored, right? Team VIP need to get one of these secondary and probably even the tertiary bomb site over the board. I think a 3-3 half, not too bad, not the end of the world. A 4-2, I'd say that's pretty decent for Team VIP right now, and they're going to be doubling down on this clash.
Attackers need to
I have to disagree with you there, Travi. I think Labs, well, from the statistics, it's completely even. I think it really comes down to, it's a 50-50 map. It comes down to your competence as a team. It's really a case of, this is why I love this map so much. It really is a case of just who is better. Right now, these teams very evenly matched across 4 rounds. And just to give you guys some context as well, if you're wondering why Rooney's hopping on this shield all the time, he is a shield merchant. This guy, when we get to the attack as well, I think he's gonna end up picking shields at 70-80% frequency. He loves that shield gameplay. So you'll probably see him, just keep an eye out. He'll be on a shield pretty much every single round here coming into this game.
I mean, you know what? Shields are great right now. Why not take advantage and why not use them? So we'll, of course, have to go through and see as well. I believe we're just going to have to sort of hit the pause and go through C here. Of course, you know, that defensive side, the attack, though, they're bringing that Ying. They're committing through to that operator. Curious to see what that one exactly does entail for them.
Yeah, as let's see how this game unfolds. As it's a bit tricky to do that at the moment. As we'll probably see some more shield on shield action.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when Tuberau isn't banned. He comes along and freezes the streamer. Not particularly helpful as an operator, unfortunately, there. So do believe we're just going to have to wait and see on the results of that one here. But it does give us an opportunity to look at the operator picks here, of course. Of course, Montaigne, Ying, obviously, Thermite, Capital, Thatcher as well for the attack. As you said, for that shield and shield action, really excited to see how the Ying plays into things as well. Obviously, the defense not bringing anything to deny the Candela's presence, nor are they going to be bringing anything to, such as a Warden as well that can see through that. So those Candelas will likely have a lot of impact in that round there, regardless of how that one plays on through.
That lineup screams to me a little fast execute. Now that Psychopaths have seen the Roam extension coming out from Team VIP, they are going to look to negate all of that by just opening the breach, sending that utility out, using the Capital bolts to cover the vertical gameplay. We've seen Psychopaths do this before as well. They will basically just cover off the vert, send the Candelas out to blind, and get the kit down. That's probably going to be the plant attempt we're going to see when we get back into the game. Yeah. But I think we are going to send to a quick break while we just resolve some of the tech difficulties on our side. So we'll see you after the break, I think.
Yeah, we're just going to have a quick tech pause. We'll be back in a few. Oh, handguns. That was a very quick round of Rainbow Six, that one, wasn't it? That was a speedy round.
Just like that, Psychopaths take a 3-2 lead. If you're wondering what happened in between, Psychopaths did exactly what I said. They had the crystal ball, they rushed the breach, got the kit down, won the round, no problems, no questions asked. And that's how we find ourselves in a 3-2 situation. We do apologize for some of the tech difficulties, but Psychopaths, with what we can assume to be a clean execute with the loadout they had for basement, are going to be kicking us back off with a 3-2 advantage.
Yeah, that's it. They're now 3-2 advantage, and we'll go on the line that this round's more of an even game. Psychopaths, of course, if they can get this round, then they're going to be ahead of things. They're going to be 4-2. Half, I'd say, on the attack for Labs. That's a pretty dandy result for themselves, and they'll be happy with that one. Team VIP, well, it's an opportunity on this mid-floor bomb site here, Control Storage, to see if they can make things work. They're really doubling down on this clash now. I think they've seen the effectiveness she's brought along up on this top floor site, and they're trying to make that stick elsewhere through. I think that's really the game plan here, and we have seen Psychopaths really struggle to deal with it, so I do like the idea behind bringing it, but it didn't have any much effect in the last round, it would appear, so curious to see whether it's going to lie this time. But what I really does catch my eye is this Pulse pick, because it's quite synonymous with this site, right, and guns.
Yeah, Pulse, I love seeing a Pulse on Storage. I think having the verticality from above and from below just increases your chance of success massively. It just means that your attacking side has a lot more stuff to deal with, but Blitz might be just thinking, I could just deal with a player right here, right now here, Travi.
Yeah, that's it. Martin completely on his own here. His players nearby to support, but until that second ago where we makes the rotation, no one immediately there to provide the back line here. So this Legion could definitely go quite early on and without much of a trade. Interestingly enough, Rooney's running around with the SMG here. He's got back out onto the shield here to try and contest the hop in towards Connector here, or Electrical rather, and that's going to make this Blitz now in a very difficult spot because he's going to be zapped, which is going to make him very vulnerable. But the swing is read through. Mateen gets taken down by Tico, who's coming on a massive flank there. And this Electrical situation is turning into a little bit of a bloodbath, but it's not going the way of Team VIP. They had the idea to send the Legion and get aggressive off the back of the clash. Psychopaths, they've made the adaptation. They've got the player in the right spot. And now this Blitz is just being a distraction. He's not here to get the kills, but he's going to need to get some now as his team are falling apart around him. Psychopaths choose to two just like that, but VIP just as quickly brought down to that Pulse in a 1 versus 2 situation. A minute left to play for here. Cheltenham forever. They need to team up. They need to find where this player is, and they need to play this one together, because if they give Grigo 2 1 versus 1 on a Pulse, he's going to be more than happy to play that one on through. Split at the minute. Here comes the Blitz, charging in towards the objective in the face, but it's free, but Charlton has to trade back. It's okay. And Psychopath's going to take themselves a very comfortable 4-2 half.
That is a brilliant round from Psychopaths. It's, as you said, turned into absolute bloodbath on that top floor. The utility dump coming out to deal with that player. I don't know why Legion's swinging there. You have to assume the Blitz is going to have backup. So the initial kill going to the way of Psychopaths, and they did a great job of just trading the kills out throughout the game, as it's going to be Danu's turn to hop on the clash, as Rooney hopping on the Blitz, as we predicted, as it was written, Travi. This is going to be another shield versus shield matchup we've got here on Labs.
Who doesn't like a bit of shield action? Who doesn't like a bit of shield action here, of course? And you say, back up this top floor, clash. They're going to be attempting to hide it. I mean, I do question hiding the shield here. I think at this point it's almost a given it's going to be brought along here. Of course, VIP might not have immediately what they need to deal with it just as of yet, so they might be relying on that. Psychopaths just hide that shield a little bit, at least for this first round here. You can at least get something possibly off of hiding the clash. Obviously, as you say, it's probably going to be something we're going to see a lot more of here, and really I think for the side of Psychopaths is just using it more effectively, because we've seen VIP play with it to mix results, right?
Yeah, this is a complete shift in the loadout coming in from Team VIP, as they brought the Mav, which I love to see, to aid in getting these walls open. But from what I can see, only the nades being the clash counter. I think Dan has done a great job here of keeping that, or the Psychopaths have done a great job of keeping that clash hidden, as there's not a lot of counters, or at least designated counters from VIP, as Psychopaths with a 2-round split. If they can get themselves to a 3-round buffer with a really clean defense here, they're going to have the firm momentum going towards their side as well to clutch up that second position after the group stage.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to be such a great position to be in. A bit of Maverick tricking going to be attempted here. Not going to spot the player, as the one player outside that can be forever retreats back towards rafters. escaping defeat holes being made by the Maverick, but that does prompt the whole breach to be opened up here. Exothermic placed, and IT wall will be opened up here. Good start for VIP. In terms of getting these walls open, there's elsewhere on the map towards lobby. They're making a quick entry, but it's going to stall out here because Dano playing up close with this clash here. Sharton as well up on the half wall in connector, looking to try and catch a player's head as they're unaware of it. VIP, they faced up with a little bit of a brick wall here. Martin takes a lot of damage, but still remains alive, and that's just going to prompt a bit of a retreat from Sharton, and the clash as well, giving VIP the space, giving them a little bit of control as well.
Yeah, and this is where the clash is just a problem. She can just post up here. She can be a mirror for the Legion. She can zap anybody coming in this way. And this is where Shortland's made a great adaptation as well. The nades will come out to help them get the breach open, which I love to see. This is generally a massive problem for a lot of teams, that when the bandits get juggled around, they don't have a way of dealing with it. But lovely stuff from the IQ, from Werek, to help his Thermite get this breach open. The Grimby should give them away that there's no one tricking the wall either, but the clash is the major roadblock once again.
Yeah, and that's it. She just moves from strength to strength on this objective. So useful. But VIP, they're going to try and make a breach in towards electrical. Get shut down for it by the C4 there, giving Psychopaths the man advantage, and Sharton extends it further here. The clash under a lot of fire right now, but it's not stopping her from wanting to peek out. Flashbang in hand, Greco gets swung upon, not quite found just yet, but Rooney goes down elsewhere. Worker goes down as well, and it just falls apart for Team VIP as Psychopaths explode and just hold the line strong. Don't give up an inch of that objective, and I think the real issue there is, said it, that clash. She retreats back, but then she's inside of electrical. She's inside of yet another strong power position. She retreats outside of that, and she's playing that funnel point, that choke point in towards the doorway of electrical. So many powerful positions for that clash to play there. She moves from strength to strength to strength to strength, just as Psychopaths have moved from round to round to round now, and find themselves with, as you mentioned, Amguns, that ever so important 3-round lead.
Yeah, it's phenomenal stuff from Psychopaths, but again, it's a little bit one-directional coming in from the attack. When all of your forces are directed from one direction, it's very easy for the defense to read into it, and that's what's led to a phenomenal defense coming in from Psychopaths.
Yeah, that's it. Gonna be great Psychopaths there. Psychopaths game here so far. There's no words. We've only had 2 best of ones. I mean, let's speak out as well. Sharton 10-6 at the minute, doing a great job here over on the game. First and only player in lobby at the minute on the double digits count here as we go in towards round number 8. Had great impact so far. Clash not going to be brought for this basement bomb site, and I don't think that's a bad thing here to really have that change up, right? I don't think that's going to be too bad of a deal to lack that clash, because there's a lot more open areas here and a lot less funnel points here. You can't constrict the attackers as much on basement, I feel, and I think when the attackers don't have the options, that's when the clash excels. So perhaps bringing something else instead, is a bit of Swiss cheese getting made up here, might be the better option.
Give me 1 second. Cool, we are back, and I love to see it. The Swiss cheese tactic, 2 games back to back. We've seen it being utilized, both of these teams looking to make use of that Swiss cheese tactic, just to keep the defenders on their toes and to have a little bit more cover when they are peeking into the breach.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to give them that little bit more cover, that little bit more safety. And of course, well, you sit here and you see 5 versus 5 now. Sharton going to be in a bit of a tough spot. Eventually does drop away here, giving the top floor control over towards Team VIP here. And it lets them have a bit of a breather, lets them have a little bit of comfortability in this one. So, minute 55 to go now on the remainder of this round. Logic Bomb's been used so far, and it's given as well a bit of control, a bit of safety.
Going in!
Breach towards the hatch.
The Animus hatch isn't reinforced.
And that's an early pick for Bolton as well. Takes down Sharton, makes things 5 versus 4 here. Good start here for Team VIP. Top player of Psychopaths taken down. And yeah, as you're saying, Animus Hatch not being reinforced. I suppose, if I'm remembering correctly, Decade was banned. So I suppose it's inevitability it's going to get opened. Use it elsewhere. Forever takes down Martin there. Makes it back even towards a 4 versus 4. Stuns come on in, but the control stairs, they're being held. We hurt. Finds one. Retreats away downstairs. They know. And it's still Psychopaths in a very difficult spot right now here. Of course, now going to have to try and fight their way through this one. And it makes things incredibly difficult for the defense here.
And this is where VIP have done exactly what Psychopaths was so good at on their attack. They've done well to isolate the fights. They've worked that man advantage. Deimos has done his job to get all these defenders forced back to this basement site. And this is where, with a little bit of time left on the clock, we can work this verticality, as Rooney's going to find one as well. So this is really good stuff coming from VIP to use the full map to their advantage here, Travi.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Now, they've got themselves such a good position here. Two-man advantage here, and you can see Siku tucked away in the corner here of the basement. It's a difficult spot to be in, a difficult spot to work out of, especially when there's a yellow ping on your head. They know exactly where they are. It's not going to stop him from trying for eliminations, but limited capacity of that SMG-11. And Rooney getting a pick elsewhere, puts him in a difficult spot, gets one, doesn't quite have the ammo for the second, fully flashed out here, just going to go for the knife kill. Rooney finds it, and Team VIP get themselves an attack on the board and at least keep the game close.
And very interesting that Rooney's not on a shield operator this time around, as VIP finally get a really good attack on the board. And I think Lab's basement is all about the entry work. If you can take that map control, if you can establish yourself on the second floor, that seems to be the most repeatable form of success you can have on that lab basement site. I just think the verticality is too good to ignore it unless you have a bit of a pocket strat like Skopotas showed on their attack. It's good or reliable, take map control, get the vert going. There's just so much pressure you can put from the vert onto the site itself, and that was a masterclass from Team VIP on how to do exactly that.
Yeah, playing that round really, really great. And speaking of verticality, how about this? We're going to head, of course, to our first floor bomb site, control storage yet again. A site that we know for being very heavy on the vertical, and thought of all RAM for a minute and operator that probably would be quite useful this objective. Not actually going to be brought across. Obviously, the bands are on the top of your screen in a minute, but the attacking band with Blackbeard and Buck, I believe. So not going to be able to have that vertical option. It's going to limit what VIP can do, but they don't seem too concerned by it. Going to be making some six picks, going to be making some adjustments here, but they're going to be doubling down on the hard breach, and of course, with that blitz spearheading that top floor clear.
Yeah, this is going to be Rooney back to good old reliable shields as they're going to be bringing the Mav. I think Mav is useful everywhere, especially for how important getting avenues opened up. IT breach is almost essential on every single site, but I love the fact that Rooney's already made his way into electrical so they can pinch onto this top floor. I think Mira, she's playing with fire here, and she's going to be very, very late to getting this mirror window placed onto the breach so she can see before anybody trying to get anything down. But Blitz trying to find his man as well.
Oh, they had no idea. That could have been free for Team VIP there, but look at this. There's a flank coming in from Skopotas, but they're aware of it. They're VIP. They know there's a flank coming. They know Sharton's there. Drone catches him out. He's going to run away, but it's diverted the attention to Team VIP. It's a little bit all over the place right now. They need to make something stick. They do exactly that. Sharton's going to be the first one to fall here. 5 versus 4 now for the attack. It's a messy start, but they get what they need done. But they can't hold on to it forever, as Forever takes down Martin there. Levels us back out, 4 versus 4. Top floor hold still going strong here for the side of Skopotas, and it's something that VIP desperately need to clear in the next couple of seconds.
And as you said, it's absolute carnage. It's becoming like a TDM version of Labs as VIP just kind of maneuver their way around trying to find kills left, right, and center as the pinch coming in onto the top floor here, Travi.
Yeah, and that's it. A Brawlhouse emerging on the top floor here. Forever gets Rooney. Siku immediately does fall right back. So we are 3 versus 3 evened out here. But do they know that Dano's up there? No, they don't. Gets one. Sprays out. Can't quite find the second. Trades coming through and strong for Team VIP yet again. And it's a 2 versus 2 now. They can hear the player below. And this time there will not be a boogeyman. There will not be a ghost on the top floor. Nor will there be one less on the first. Raxo's going to fall. Forever is pinged out. Team VIP know exactly where this Romanian player is with such low HP. This is going to be an almost impossible clutch here. Even with a gun as good as the Vector, can't quite make it happen. And Team VIP get us a little bit closer to taking this game, a little bit closer to tying things up here, as they make themselves a 5-4 scoreline and 1 away from tying us up here on Nighthaven Labs.
And this is a really good effort coming in from Team VIP. They've dug deep. 5-2 down to bring it back 5-4, and this is where they can start to get in the heads of Skopotas as well. Skopotas will start to feel like they're losing the grasp of this game. I really hope that Team VIP can keep building on that momentum, keep being aggressive, because it's working really well for them.
Yeah, and I think the thing is as well for the side of Skopotas, we've said it, the pressure is on them Team VIP, bar some favourable seeding, there's not a whole lot weight riding on this one for them right now. The pressure definitely lies on the pocket of Sycopathus right now. Of course, that top 2 seed is what they're fighting for, and sure, any win is going to be enough for them, whether it's a regulation or an overtime win. That will be enough to do it for them. But aside from Team VIP, if they can get 3 rounds here and keep building this momentum they have done, there's a world where they can do this in regulation. I mean, there's a world where they can actually gatekeep Sycopathus from that top 2 spot and give it to the side of Turks, LFO. So we're going to have to see how this final, not final round, round number 10 plays out here. They know back on the Clash, it's worked for Sycopathus before, and I'm expecting it to at least have a good impact and possibly even work again.
Yeah, and the Clash has been brought out once again, but I'm surprised we're not seeing more dedicated Clash counters coming out from either side. I would have thought Team VIP would bring maybe, the Kali to counter the Clash. She's the most reliable. If you're not aware, the shot from the Kali just from the primary will cause the guard break on the Clash shield. So an extremely useful way of dealing with the Clash. No Nomad in play either, maybe for the electrical side of things. Nomad's extremely effective at retaining control and giving you some space on that electrical side. But Mav's going to kick things off for us and get the IT breach open once again. There's a lot of these rounds playing out in very similar fashions.
Yeah, it does feel like it's sort of a repeat of rounds bygone here. We're going to be starting in this position again, trying to challenge on towards the Blitz. Can't quite find the head. And, well, same as we've seen before, retreat away just a little bit there, giving this room over towards Team VIP. C4 is going to be thrown. It's actually not quite going to find its mark. Rooney's still alive there. Runs away just a little bit here. And minute 55 to go now left on this clock. VIP, their attacks, it's been stalled out a little bit, I feel. They have got the main IT breach open, but the question is, what do they do from here? They fell into this funnel before from the side of Sycopathus, and it seems like they're setting themselves up. Here, the attack need to do something different from previous rounds to really get this one done.
They need to not be one-dimensional. The key thing for them to do is now spread themselves out across the map. Try and get someone over towards the blue side. Get someone over towards the IT breach that you just spent so much time opening. You need to put a chokehold on Sycopathus, so they have to worry about multiple angles. And then that's how you make forced mistakes and find the kills to get into the site. With a minute 15 on the clock, there's so much time for them to organize where the 5 of them can be to put the max amount of pressure onto Sycopathus. As at the moment, they're all very one-sided once again.
Yeah, and they seem to be committing full through it as well. And you've got to be careful. Rooney, of course, is solo HP. That Clash can zap them out of the lobby in almost an instant there. Forever in a key position here up towards Rafters. Knows about the Ash. Can't quite find the elimination though. Martin opens it up and gives an opening to this round here for the side of Team VIP. Sycopathus now going to fall away from the objective. The player playing close to the electrical doorway is taken down, and that opener gives them exactly what they need. Sycopathus are falling down, but the players of Team VIP, they're quite low themselves. There's definitely potential in this fort here, especially as the Clash is still standing, but not for long, as it turns out to be a flawless for Team VIP as they level out the scoreboard 5-5. And suddenly this one's looking a lot more winnable for the blue team here. And Sycopathus, you've got to be wondering, that momentum they had, that top floor site that was ever so strong for them, it's not worked out now. You've returned to it and gotten nothing short of demolished on it. How do you make the adjustment here? Because 2 rounds right now is all that separates one of these teams from a regulation win.
And tag timeout being forced out from Sycopathus as well. I think this is a good time to call it, because you lost 3 rounds back to back, and this is where you've got to give credit to the Ash. She wins her gunfight on that warehouse area. She gives that opening for Gridlock to join her on Rafters, and you could see Bandit as well. He had no idea that Team VIP had rotated over towards the IT side. He got caught out by that chokehold that VIP put on Sycopathus. That's exactly what I wanted to see coming out for them, just to keep Sycopathus on their toes. And it's worked out a treat as the kill feed all blew in that round. As Team VIP, we've got a real game on our hands right now.
Yeah, exactly. This one, the predictions did say this one would be closer than the other one. If we're going off the predictions, they said this be 50-50 right now. And I suppose this one, well, it is 50-50. It's 5-5. It's all even. And of course, we're going to be going down towards the basement. Sycopathus not going to be reattempting this. Top floor going to be heading back down towards the bottom floor objective here on Lab, seeing what they can get going with it. Really, I think the question lies for Sycopathus is right now, is I feel like they've been read into it. Team VIP, they anticipated the funnel, and as you said, Amguns, they needed to find that way to diversify, to add a dimension to attack. That's what they did with that Ash getting the opener there. They got themselves a lifeline. They got themselves a cut into the defense there and dissected it from that point onwards. Phenomenal stuff from Team VIP. If they can keep doing that, I can see them taking this matchup here. Really for Psychopaths right now, it's reset, ignore the last 3 rounds. Just try and play good fundamental siege stuff. You know they can do.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we want to keep seeing from Team VIP. Just keep doing the basics well. They finally kicked into gear. They finally settled into the game. And this is where they've got an extension to deal with again coming in from Psychopaths. I love the fact they've doubled down this time on the roam clear as well. They've got the Dokubi and the Deimos to be able to hunt these players from Psychopaths. This is where Psychopaths, they need to be wise to this. They need to make sure they've got avenues to retreat back to the site itself so they're not caught out early in this round.
Yeah, that's it. That committal to this, and I suppose that's where the castle comes in. Lock off the doorways, and that gives you a little bit of extra breathing space here as a defender to make those retreats. You can see here towards the cargo stairs, they're caught off, not going to be able to get them through. Sharton up here towards meeting. Do they have the idea that they're so close to one another? The logic bomb's not going to come in until just now, and immediately Weehurk's going to call it. It's going to give the position away of this Mozzie. Sharton knows how close the player likely is, but could have run away. But the intel's been fed across. Does he have an idea how much of a difficult spot he's about to be in? Faced up with his shield, going to retreat. C4's going to go, not quite going to connect, and Weehurk from behind takes him down. Great pinch from Team VIP, and it puts Psychopaths in an early disadvantage.
And what a player to take out as well. Shorten has been the top frag coming in from Psychopaths, shut down nice and early in good time too. Sometimes you can justify this man going down early or a man going down because you wasted enough time. But with a minute 40 left on the clock, Team VIP's roam clear, taking inspiration from Psychopaths on their roam clear, as their roam clear looks just as good right now.
Oh, what a shot from Rooney. They know who's going to be the one to go down there. 3 versus 5 now for the defense. Tack timeout really not working in their favor. And the Team VIP, they yet to lose a body in this round. This is stalled out momentarily by a toxic fade, but I don't think the stall's going to last for long. Vertical pressure coming in on through. Siku trying to make a bit of pressure up towards the cargo stairs, but at least stall the attack from this direction. But only under 2 versus 5 at this point. What really can you do in this situation? Right now, VIP have every card stacked in their favour. But it's going to be sent on down, plays it close. Siku falls, and Raxo going for a bit of a flank, has the ace clutch this one. If you want to deny a match point there, going to take down Bolton, cost them a little bit of HP, but they're anticipating it. They find it, and Team VIP make the comeback true and get themselves up onto a 6-4 match point here, and an opportunity to lock Psychopaths out of that desired second place spot. And what an upset that would be.
Is the pressure too much for Psychopaths? This is a must-win game, if that's in regulation time or in overtime. Psychopaths, this is do or die time for that second spot. Oh, yeah. They will end up taking the 3rd place, which I think by their standards is probably not what they want. They'll end up in the quarterfinals rather than the semis. And Team VIP, they're playing some brilliant siege right now, and you've got to give it credit to Rooney as well. He is using these shields to amazing effect. He's just taking so much space, pushing these defenders back. I think it's the confidence you get with the Doki call. You Doki call, you can then push off the information the Doki gives you, because if anybody's in the vicinity, when that phone rings, you can beeline for them with the blitz. So I really like what Team VIP are going for here, and they have a chance to gatekeep Psychopaths from 2nd place here if they can win this round right here, right now.
And not only will they gatekeep Psychopaths as well, they will also overtake Diavoli. If they can do this in regulation, they get 3 points, which puts them on 12 as well. And currently they're tied in round differential before this matchup. Team VIP win this. They'll obviously have a positive round differential. They will overtake and actually get themselves up into 3rd place as well. So not only do they gatekeep Psychopaths as well, they get themselves a much more favourable seeding going in towards the playoffs, actually. So Team VIP, this is quite a huge round for them here. And, you know, we talked about pressure on Psychopaths. I don't know if VIP have done the maths in their heads, whether they'll be playing with this knowledge, of course, but they will certainly, if they are aware, they might be feeling it a little bit here. This matchup that, you know, started off the night as, you know, maybe something as a bit of an easy one for Psychopaths, David versus Goliath, has turned into a real brawl house between these 2 teams, and there's not a lot separates them. And the pressure for each team grows and grows and grows by each round. This one's really starting to turn out to quite an interesting one here, and we'll see how it all pans out here for the final round of the regulation.
Yeah, and the biggest problem I see for Psychopaths is how do you now deal with the pinch from all sides? And it seems like Forever's going to be the answer to that. He's going to be going for that late flank later on to try and catch out Team VIP to send this into overtime. But once again, Blitz with the aggression. They're going to be hitting blue fast here, Travi.
Yep, and Raxo's going to be feeling that one. Goes down quite early on, and as you said about that flank protection, Gridlock's there to provide the cover on it. Sharn taking damage is going to be dropped eventually. Dano does get one back onto Martin, but it's just turning into an absolute slaughterfest on this top floor here. 3 versus 3 now. But because the Solace is so far away, she's limited with what she can do in this position here. Coming up the back of blue stairs now, Forever in a prime position. Turn this round around, and they have no idea she's there. Gets one, but immediately traded back. Oh no! This is 1 versus 2 now for Rooney. The star players so far for Team VIP try and prevent this one from going into overtime. Knows where the 2 players are. Tries to 1-on-5 the 1v1s. Gets one. Can he get the second? No, he cannot. And we are going to be going towards an overtime as Seco Palace keep themselves and their dreams of making that second place spot alive.
I don't know why they've sent the diffuser in through IT. It got really sketchy in that round for Team VIP as the kit got dropped cold on this garage side. And Psychopatas, although it got a bit dicey, have successfully hung on to that diffuser. I think this kill was the turning point right here. When Solus finds this kill, in the heat of the moment, just didn't realize they now got the advantage, and the diffuser kept swinging. I don't think he needed to keep swinging there. It's just really fine margins separating these 2 teams, and that's why we're finding ourselves so deep in overtime now.
Yeah, and that's it. So for Team VIP to reset the standards, Team VIP can now only get 2 points from this game, meaning that they will not have enough to overtake Diavoli regardless of the outcome. So overtaking is not a possibility. The only possibility now is gatekeeping Psychopaths, because if you can get them with that 1 point, if you can take that one, if Team VIP can win this, they will still gatekeep Psychopaths. Psychopaths needs to win this game still. Getting to overtime is not going to be enough. They need to get 2 of the next 3 rounds. They're going to be starting on the defense, which so far in this game at least has been the favourable, seeing 4-2 halves going the way of that side. So we'll see how it will pan out here, but Psychopaths not going to go for the flashes. They're going for a very trap-heavy lineup here.
Yeah, they are indeed, but I really like this adaptation. I spoke about it in the last round. How do you deal with the pressure coming from all sides? This is the answer. You bring traps. You bring things that give you more power in these key positions, so that way when the pinch does come in, every individual's more better equipped to deal with their individual 1v1. They've got tools and means to protect themselves that aren't other people's gunfights. So when the site has been surrounded, you've got a bit more warning, and you've got sound cues to be able to know when and how to take these different fights and respond to how VIP are collapsing onto the site itself. The other obvious answer is Rudy is now just hard shield crutching. Traps are the obvious answer to deal with this operator as well.
Yeah, you know, if your biggest problem is a shield, there's no need to bring out anything fancy. There's no need to try and reinvent the wheel. Just do it at what on most of fundamental basic level does the job. That is, of course, going to be a C4 from Sharton. Who needs the traps? You've got a C4 just like that. Finally works on through. Reinforcement can be made, and I think Psychopaths know the shield is gone. The massive danger, the lurking Blitz, he's not a problem anymore. They just reinforce it off, play the site, play out trades, and they should be able to see themselves through this one. Of course, Sharton on the Bandit, they're available to trick if necessary. But it's going to make getting into this objective here for the side of VIP a hard job. And Psychopaths are just looking to funnel them away.
They are indeed, as they're pushing their way all the way up into Connector. But now they're just struggling. How do they now get this wall open? They've got 4 pocket EMPs, so Thermite should be able to get this wall open, as now opening up Connector is going to be the main mission to then work a pillar plant.
Yeah, need to getting Connector open, because as you've said before, it's all about buying those dimensions for your attacks, buying those ways in towards the objective. You can see here, Yogurt Greco does have the EMP's impact in pocket, and they're going to be using the Cowan Hive to try and spot any bandits playing the trick. Hive goes in, doesn't spot any players immediately, so they're going to be plopping the Exothermic down from below. Weehurk does a little bit of damage on Seeking, but barely any at all, negligible in the grand scheme of things. 4 versus 5 for the attack here, still 55 seconds to go, but yet again, it's just limiting options right now.
And they should be able to get this IT breach open, but the question is, Grimbeat out is going to be a Legion as the floor bank comes in as well, trying to duel everybody in this position, but he's got help from below as the Dokumi's going to be forced off as well. They will find their man, however, as Teams VIP look to swarm the site here.
Yeah, that's it. They need to make the push in now, but Cat Trap actually catches out Weehurk, but it doesn't matter because Martin gets Dano, keeping Team VIP in the advantage right now. Raxo and Forever, all that left standing for Psychopaths right now. Look at the HP of the Grimdo. He is low. It should be an easy winnable gunfight here as the flashbangs come on through. Plant attempt's going to be made. The remaining members of Team VIP holding for the cover. They should be able to get this plant stuck down here as Forever goes down. It's Raxo stuck here behind the desks in command here to keep this round alive here and deny the match point for Team VIP yet again here. Goose down, clock's going away. What can you do in this situation? Not a whole lot, really. Team VIP, they're just going to hold their angle, maybe give away one, but I really doubt any more than that. Play it close in shotgun, tries to find Martin, but you don't know it. You're going to be walking into a double cross held by Greco, and Team VIP get themselves back up with the match point here and gives themselves 2 more opportunities to play that devil's advocate and gatekeep Psychopaths.
VIP, second match point for them on the defense this time around. Can they close out the game right here, right now? They did such a great job the last time around of just adjusting to Psychopaths' take. But the thing to highlight from VIP is this has been a long game. So Psychopaths have got a lot of history in playing, a lot of qualifiers that can take a long time. So do Team VIP have the mental edge coming into this last round? Can they stay strong mentally to just make sure they stick to their guns on the attack? They've got Rooney on the clash once again. I feel like he's got to be the key. Can they utilize his kit as well as possible? Because he's been giving them so much success. And the one thing I'm a little bit disappointed by is Psychopaths have stuck to their OG lineup. They're not bringing a Capital. They've got the Nomad and the Kali. We'll have to wait and see if that's enough. But I really want to see Psychopaths focus the clash like they did in previous rounds, because that's where they've been having the most success.
Yeah, and that's it. They know, and Team VIP, they know the knowledge of the clash is going to be there. They're not even bothering to hide Rooney anymore. They're just letting him do the setup, assist with the rest of the team, and the expectations have been set for this round. I think it's really, as you say, in the pocket of Psychopaths to try and make that connection across. How do they deal with that clash? I think Rooney is the person to focus on throughout this round here, because it's going to be the deal breaker or maker for the side of Team VIP, and what could get them a bit of an upset 8-6 victory here. But of course, that was a little while away, and first and foremost, let me see Dano holding a long angle, prepared for a run out. No one's going to be giving them time of day just as of yet. A couple bait shots coming in through from Bolton, but not going to be committed off of the back of it. And for the side of Psychopaths, it's a question of how do they actually attack this building? How do they actually try and get their way in towards this objective?
And they've got a lovely crossfire set up on this electrical window as well. Warden's not looking to jump out. He's just looking to give the audio cue to his teammate, which is Martin. But this is where we can see the Deimos once again, how useful he can be in this virtual gameplay to remove some of these key power positions away from the defense.
Yeah, he can be so valuable right now forever on that position and really limit what Team VIP have available to them, and then the rest of the attacking team can just kind of constrict around that. Ryko going to be finding that one out firsthand, taking a little bit of damage from the Deimos down below. As the edge first one starts to get flooded in nearer towards the objective, denying anyone retaking in towards VIP. They're aware of it there, but it's not getting Ryko off. Still wants to play close to this breach, still wants to hold the tight angle, but it's been droned out. They're aware it's there. The Dano may try and move around to try and take this one, because the sniper rifle surely is the one that wins that gunfight, you would presume.
Setting up a breaching sequence.
They're going to wait a second. Siku going to be taking out the walls towards rafters there, clearing it out and giving the opening here. Psychopaths, as the mute gets targeted by the Deimos, shots coming out from below, can't quite catch the feet. And Team VIP, they're getting in a difficult spot now. The pressure's mounting. How are they going to hold on?
And this virtual gameplay is working a treat as Martin's playing hot potato with his toes in and around this command center site, finally finding some hard floor as the control come in all around the site. But Boltan's going to kick things off on his lurk. He's got one right below him as well. Deimos doesn't know about him as Boltan finds 2 for himself to shut down Psychopaths. And is this VIP's time to shine?
It might just be the 2 remaining players of Psychopaths. It's Siku and Dano, the latter of which gets one, but then the other gets traded back immediately, and it's all down to Dano now. 1 versus 4. It would have to be a monumental clutch up here. There is nothing to gain by hiding, everything to lose. He goes for the swing, gets punished for it, and that means that Team VIP are going to get themselves an upset victory. They can't guarantee themselves the highest seeding, but what they can guarantee is Psychopaths being locked out of that second place position, and Turks LFO will be getting their bye game.
And that is a great end to the day. What a game we've just witnessed. Psychopaths started off strong, but they didn't have the gas in the tank to see it out all the way, as a real momentum shift coming in towards the mid part of that game as VIP started stacking round on round on round. to make that comeback from 5-2 down. Nevertheless, right, and you got to give props to VIP here as they just battled against a T2 giant and come out on top. So really good stuff from VIP. They've showed some real heart, some really good tactics, especially really on the blitz. I feel like the whole team is centered around him and his use of the shield, which I love. When shields, as Travis, you've been pointing out all day, are as strong as they are, why not build your attacks around him?
Why not
just back him up and take space with him? Because it can just be that easy.
Yeah, and as well on the attacks of Team VIP as well, you were highlighting how important it is to not be one-dimensional. And Scopotus, I feel like towards the later stages of that game, they kept falling into that time and tested trap time and time again. They were just getting forced into a funnel, and Team VIP more than happy to play it that way through. It gave them some really important rounds, gave them a much-needed victory there. And as I say, sure, because it go to overtime, TO VIP won't be able to pop over the Evoli, but it has given them at least I suppose a buff towards the side of Turks LFO, where they're going to be getting their bye game now, so they're at least helping out another team in the competition, while also getting a little bit of revenge on Scopotus with 9 and that seed over Houghtepunt there. But well-deserved win from Team VIP, and I think a banger of a game really there to end our group stages here, of course, in Voltage League Season 5. So it's all group stages now. That was the final game of it, and we're going to be eyeing up playoffs next.
Yes, we are going to see our playoff bracket is now decided. Once our highlights finish, we can take a look at those as well. It's unfortunate that VIP didn't manage to take over Divoli. They would have needed a regulation time win to take over Divoli for a better seeding place. But this game came down to Team VIP, in my opinion, adapting better than their counterparts, especially on the meeting overtakes. Both teams were very similar in their style of attack. They both wanted to attack from that meeting side, but VIP did a much better job of adapting from that point. Once they've got to the meeting point and they've got to the point of execute, how do we spread ourselves out and make it difficult? That was the key thing that set VIP apart in this game, and that's why they found themselves 8-6 up. It was that small but very crucial adaptation in the heat of the moments where they needed to spread themselves out and pinch the site. VIP just did it way better than Scopotas. Scopotas, I think, especially because of the clash as well, on the side of VIP. Because Scopotas got very tunnel focused on that electrical side onto the clash, they just never had the opportunity to spread themselves out like VIP did.
Yeah, and I think that is a very brilliant way to put that one there. Why Team VIP were able to take the win, and as you say, such a deserved, a bit of an upset victory as well, certainly for them. But they'll be happy with that one. I think going into playoffs, that's going to be giving them the confidence they're going to be needing, right? Of course, sure, it might not have changed their standings at all. It might not have changed their position in seeding at all. But what it has given them is a proof that they can take down some of the best teams we have here in Voltage League, and it is proving to us that they are a team here. They are a contender, and that whole top 5, I think. Now you add Team VIP into that conversation, that top 5 starts to look really incredibly spicy here. And here we go, a final look at the group stage standings here. Next, of course, going to be on top regardless of how things went after today. Scopotas, they're actually going to be just about sneaking through in towards second here, are they? Round differential.
They stay second, yes.
They stay second, yeah.
They do stay second indeed.
They do actually
stay second. We've been promising a gatekeeping of second, which is not turned out to be true, but it is what it is. The other thing is has this updated?
Yeah, I was going
because
round differential.
They have a better round difference. Am I missing something? I feel like round difference is not the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Here,
it may be round differential is not the tiebreaker here. It might be a head-to-head tiebreaker. That might be the difference between these two. I'm just going to have a quick look back. Scopotas, Turks, LFO, who actually did win that matchup. That might be the tiebreaker here. We may have been misleading everyone this whole time.
Because they've got identical stats. So as you can see,
exactly.
both one had an OT win, both had an OT loss, and then both had a regulation time loss as well. So I've got a pretty good feeling it's going to be the head-to-head. Yeah,
it's the head-to-head.
Scopotas beat the Turks earlier in the league. They do get the advantage as the first tiebreaker, which makes a lot of sense. So
there we go.
That's how we've ended up with this leaderboard, which is all good. So we'll be saying goodbye to Year of the Snake and Valor Esports. They will be heading out. They won't be making it into the playoffs, where NXT and Scopotas, your semi-finalist teams, going into the playoffs.
And that bye game for them is going to be absolutely massive, I think, for them. That is going to be a huge bye game. That is going to be incredibly important there. Of course, you get to skip a game, and not only do you get to skip the game, you get to sit and watch the quarterfinal match. You get to go and see what exactly you're going to be going up against. You get to assist, you get to get that eye on things. You get to just see what exactly is going to be going on there. And I think that one really sort of gives you that advantage, and it gives you that extra knowledge. I think that can be so helpful in a game like Siege.
Yeah, you get to scout your opponent. You don't have to play as many games on the day as well. So it's a real help to not have to play that quarterfinal spot. Going straight into the semis is a massive advantage, and they're well deserving of it. So that's going to be all it is for the group stages. On to the playoffs we go. I can't wait to see how these teams do, as I can't believe we've made it to the playoffs already, Travi.
Yeah, the playoffs speeding through them. We're here already, and the best part is the playoffs aren't even that too far away. I believe the first game is actually going to be this week on Wednesday, actually. So we don't actually have too long to wait until the playoffs actually get kicked off, and we've got our first sets of best of threes, our first quarterfinals coming on through. I could not be more excited for it. I think we've got some incredible teams here, and we're now really going to start to get to see the good teams get separated from the great teams here as we go towards that ever so exciting grand final we got coming up as well.
I completely agree, man. I can't wait for it. So hopefully I'll get to catch some of the action, because I think I might be on holiday actually when those take place. We'll have to see. Get to catch some sun, catch some amazing Siege action here on the Voltage League. But that's going to be pretty much it from us. Stay tuned for the playoffs. This is getting really exciting. We can crown our champion of Voltage League for this season. So massive thank you for Rowan for producing today. Massive thank you to Unnamed Gamer as well. And also massive thank you to you guys for watching. Really appreciate all of you guys coming to hang out with us and enjoy the Siege that we had for today. I think we had some amazing games. It's fair to say, Travi.
Yeah, some really amazing games today. We had a 7-5 and an 8-6. It doesn't get much better than that, really. Two incredible games, two really exciting games. And you know what? I'm sitting there and I'm looking forward to playoffs. Off of how group stages ended, I think this playoffs bracket is going to be incredibly exciting. And I can't wait to see how it all kicks off. That's going to be coming your way on Wednesday, folks. So have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we will see you then.
I must have went blind tonight, cause I swear that you out of sight. Man, I'm so up, I could be a pilot, and I just hope trying to catch a flight. So let me get the digits, I call right now if you with it. I seen 1,000 pretty girls in this room, $1 I've been looking for you. I've been searching, it's so hard to find a girl who's one of a kind. 'Cause being alone just isn't cool. I'll take 1,000 trips around the world just so I could